Lay ho! Waidima! Hello, Lego fans. This is the crazy expat Timmy T out here in HK doing our live build tonight. It's one of my mocks, so if you've got stuff in the comments in the chat what you may be building, but I've got to do a conversion. I got to do a conversion. So once we do this, it will be a new lift system for my custom hospital. So got to reconstruct that because we found stupidly where did it go? That the gurney. Oh, it fits in, but you don't have anyone to attend to the patient inside the actual lift. So we got to make it a little bit bigger. Anyway, so we got a great panel. We've got a fellow expat, Jeff, my good friend. We have Darren, the AKA Gandalf, AKA Lego fan, Lego train nut, AKA the Wizard of Happiness. And on the end is ABC, Aussie Brit Chick.
Hey, hey.
Awesome. Good panel tonight. Fun and games to be had by all. Yeah, so a little bit what's going on. We have a massive pile of shun that we got to get through over here. This custom hospital has been the bane of my existence for the last few weeks and months. And we have had technical troubles, as all mock builders will know. It's just part of the be-all and end-all of Lego building. But anyway, what we'll do is we'll throw it across to, I think we'll pass the parcel first. I'm going to punt it across AFL style, and I'll throw it over to ABC.
Why me first?
I just felt fun.
It always seems to be me first. Timmy!
Oh, I'll reverse order next week. Come on.
Next week? I probably won't be here next week. I've got a show next week.
Yeah, I know you do. I know you do.
I may not be conscious. Or even back to the motel at that point.
Okay. Tell us about your prep for the show. Tell us about your prep for the show, Cherie.
Sitting around and procrastinating. Actually, all right. Let me explain. My display is actually in Brisbane, and I'm on the Sunshine Coast, so it's about an hour or so drives away. So we had hoped to go and visit it and make some alterations to it, but Christmas happened and time got away, and so here was Cherie on Flickr looking at pictures going, so is there anything different from the last time we went to this place? Yes. Awesome. I'm not doing anything.
Oh.
Because we changed it up. The last time we went to Coffs Harbour, we had the dinosaur train.
Yeah.
And 2 shows after that, we added in the monorail. So it's different to when it went there last. Of course, I'll make some like general sort of little changes on the fly, but yeah, I'd really hoped to have made some more substantial changes to it, but no, it didn't happen.
Oh.
And hubby's been too busy with work to work on his Minecraft, so I guess we'll just take some good reference photos and try and do something for the next show.
Yeah.
Because his display hasn't been to Coffs Harbour at all.
Oh, so it'll be a first showing.
Yeah. Well, it's been 2 years. It's been 2 years since we were there last. So.
Oh, okay, though.
We didn't do it last year, so 2 years. But yeah, the stupid weather we've been having, I've got coming down with a bit of a sore throat, so you'll have to excuse me if I don't talk as much as I normally do, because I'm like living on throat lozenges and trying to kick it.
Understand. No problem. At that point, we'll kick it across to Darren, mate, the Phillip Island local and awesome Lego friend that we have on the panel tonight. What's up, mate?
Getting ready for Brickvention in Melbourne.
Everyone's building for shows. Lovely.
Yeah, big show for us. Biggest of the year, of course. And yeah, a lot of work. I'm still seriously 40 hours away from finishing what has to go up on Thursday.
Wow.
What do you do
Cutting
these
a fly,
things?
my friend.
Yeah, got to get into it. But that happens.
Yes, it's not Brickvention if you're not hastily putting things together while you're at the show.
Yeah, that was the case last year too. Very much so.
You're not the only one.
I know that.
Repeating history.
Ancient history, exactly, yeah. But yeah, it happens. Yeah, it's the way we do it. Quite often it's because you're waiting on someone at the show to deliver your parts.
Oh, yeah, well, that's true.
Oh, last year I was waiting on about 250 trans cheese slopes. So, yeah, last minute putting stuff together. But this year, yeah, we'll see what happens. It's one of those things. What can you do? You know, you can only do so much. So,
True.
it's one of those things. I can't change my thing here. It's just being naughty. Oh, well. So I have to wear being the dinosaur boy today. Birthday boy again.
You're
That's
milking
all
it far too much.
Hey?
He's milking him far too much.
What am I doing?
You're milking it.
Oh, the birthday boy bit. Oh, okay. Far too much, you reckon. Fair enough.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, that was last. That was 29.
What, was it a
Oh,
week
okay.
or 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
Just won't allow me to change my tagline. Won't even allow me to remove it at the moment. I don't know. It won't even allow me to remove it. So, God knows. Oh, well, it's YouTube. I don't know nothing about YouTube. So, anyway, yeah, the usual Brickvention last-minute rush. But I've been sort of getting some previews from some people. Even though I keep telling them not to send me photos of what they're building because I like the excitement of being the kid in the candy store, so to speak, on
On the day.
But people have been sort of dropping me photos going, what do you think I should do with this? And I sort of like, oh, damn. Okay, I appreciate you asking my opinion.
me.
But I'd rather you didn't show me. But I do appreciate that they've asked me for some advice. So I have seen some sneak previews of a few things. And believe me, there is some mind-blowing mocks going up this show. There is absolute world-class exhibitions going in at this show.
Oh, make me sad that I can't go.
Yeah, I know. We should have done a crowdfunder for you to come to Brickvention this year, I think. Next year.
Maybe next year, yeah.
Next year. So, yeah, so I've seen some previews of what's coming up. I know with talking through the year with all my friends who are exhibitors on a regular basis that there were some cracking concepts going around, and I know that they will have pulled them off. These guys don't say they're going to build something and don't pull it off. So there'll be amazing stuff at this show. If you only get to one Lego show this year, make sure you get to Brickvention. But there is still plenty of other good shows coming up this year. We're going to at least 5. There'll be 4 Victorian-based ones, and we're really hoping to get up to Queensland to do a show with Cherie. So, yeah, that'll be cool.
Awesome.
I never did have that conversation about you coming up.
Yeah, that was with another build. We're coming up with something different this time. So I
was going to tell you when.
When? Okay, all right. I don't know when. Whenever. You know, it's just like one of those things. It's just like, yeah, you just got to put money aside for it. Make sure it happens, don't you? Good. We'll get to Queensland. There'll be geocaches along the way. We'll get to Queensland. It's that easy.
It's a nice place, mate.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's been interesting. It's we've got some pretty interesting stuff coming up, and I really think that the quality of the shows in Australia is really getting higher and higher all the time. I haven't been back in the scene for that many years, but I have been to a lot of shows, and I've just seen it get better and better each year. It's just with new builders coming into the scene who are artists from other areas, like myself, who've come into the scene in recent years, and we are already artists. We've come into the scene from things from being like sculptors and things like that. We're bringing a new feel to things. So I think we tend to play more with light than previous exhibitors might have probably done so. I mean, I really make sure that when I'm building something, light plays a very important part in it, the way the light falls on something. So that's why there's usually a very high percentage of translucent parts in my builds, because they do catch the light and play with them very well. But it's all about textures. If you're going to build a mind-blowing mock that's really going to blow people's minds, you've got to make sure there's a lot of texture in it. And that's when you see the ones where they build massive expansions of rock walls, for example, in a castle build. When they've gone to a lot of trouble to build really good cliff faces, it catches your eye because the better builders have gone to the point of taking even down to sort of replicating what natural erosion would look like. And when you see that sort of detail going in, that's when you know you've really got builders of an exceptional standard. And I love it when people build jokes into their builds. I've got one build which I've been talking about over the last few TGIF streams, Neighbours from Hell. There's a few in jokes in there for the people who sort of look for them. And it's it's one of those builds. It might be very big, but to really take it in, you've got to spend 5 minutes or more looking at it, and you won't get it all unless you spend about probably 15 minutes looking at it. So it's one of those things that I expect people to walk along and go, okay, let's just, wow, there's just so much detail packed in there, You got it. My challenge for this one is to get 100% accurate part count, because no one's done it apparently before. So I'll be in the process tonight of actually pulling a few floors down and accurately counting them and then rebuilding them. Yeah, I'm nuts, but I just want to have a perfectly counted build. So, So how are you going with that rebuild of that elevator there, Tim?
Process. I just pulled it apart. I just pulled the guts out and I'm extending it.
I'm just sorting parts at the moment. I've hit up the pad wall at Chadstone on Thursday, and now I've got to pull all the parts apart that I put together.
Oh, great.
But you've got to put them together to stack the cups to the max. So, so now I'm pulling apart white 2x2 tile and green 2x2 plate.
Oh, gotcha. Cool.
Yeah, so I got a fair bit of that to pull apart, about 400 or 500 of them. So, but it's amazing how many more parts you get in a cup by stacking them. So, well, to give you an example, we got over 7 cups worth into 4 cups.
Nice.
So if you look at it, that I did that in just on 45 minutes, I paid myself better than $90 an hour. That's the way I look at it.
That's not bad, mate.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. And when because a couple of weeks back, just before Christmas, we had to go and get some stuff, and we couldn't stack cups. There was just nowhere to physically do it, and we walked out with. Really, once we went back and stacked it our normal way, we were well under 3/4 of what we'd normally get into a cup.
Oh.
So well under. Getting close to nearly half, actually.
Yeah.
So, it was sort of, it makes a difference. But we needed the parts, so we just went and got them. But, when you're sort of used to just being able to go and spend a little bit of time and stacking them.
Well, I know you were picking on my technique, but I just had to raid Moncock and shut in as quickly as I could to try to get other parts for other builds.
Yeah, it's when you just got to look at the wall and don't care what the parts are, but anything that's sort of 1 by 1 round will fill gaps very easily. So you just take a few of those in and see what you can get. And, like I've got cups full of stuff that I'll never use, but I know I can trade them with other people, so that's fine.
Yeah, well, that's always good.
So, I got cups full of transparent blue 1 by 1s that, well, there we go. Like there's there's that container and that cup full, and it's a part I rarely use. But it's just been gap fillers in cups we bought. So, you know, like basically at about a quarter of one of those cups in amongst the other stacked bricks.
Yeah.
And it makes a difference. I mean, those cups are $30 each, and I'll sell them for $30 per cup, same as what I paid for them. And, yeah, I'll get my money back and then I'll go and buy something I actually want.
Yeah. That sounds cool.
Well, it's just a matter of filling the gaps with whatever, you know, making sure you know what other people want, for one thing, I suppose, when you do it that way. But, no, look, when you're trying to build up stock, you know, you look at the pad walls and you go, okay, what can I use to fill? And, you know, you've got to sort of look at it, what do you do?
Yeah.
Getting a slightly different changeover on our pad wall. I know I've been hearing rumours that Queensland's getting some new stuff on their pad wall.
Yeah, I believe when I see it. Speaking of the Greenwell pad wall, we're planning on stopping in quickly on our way through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep hearing they're going to change it all the time. It never seems to happen. And we have actually seen some changes on our pad wall. Not much, but we've seen about 6 changes since it started. So that's at least something. They realise that some
we
parts...
had a change over last week, which was good. Mongkok changed about, I think, 5 of their pad parts of their wall. And Shartin, which is only just open, the Lego store there, they actually turned over 4 of their pick-a-pick bays. So that was pretty good. But the flagship store, which was the first store in Hong Kong at Times Square, that still got stuff since they were open, but they've added 2 extra bays to that I saw last week. So they've actually they're clear. They've got nothing in them, so they're going to add something to those. I don't know what yet.
You're interested to see what they add. All right, from me, I wish they'd be adding more cheese slopes to the walls, but yeah.
I got you, cheese. I got your clear cheese slopes in this bucket, mate.
Yeah, I know, mate. I have to organise some postage on that, but
I thought you out for that.
The numbers I use, mate, it's just like the build I've got planned for next year for Brickvention is well over 100,000 transparent parts in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's well over that. And if I manage to get around to finishing my GARC project before next year, which hopefully will happen, there's already over 60,000 trans neon parts for that in stock. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm looking at I sat back and looked at it. Bricklink doesn't actually give you a figure of how many bricks you've bought over the year. It's a bit misleading that way.
No.
But I went and started
adding
up invoices, and without even realising, I've bought in over 250,000 parts over the last 12 months.
Oh wow.
That's huge.
I did notice Brickhouse did introduce that because the guys that we go in our local to buy stuff from Brickhouse, they actually give you an inventory of what you've actually taken from some of their stores. So the bigger guys on there will give you a actual say, oh, you've got 7,000 1x2 square plates, or you've taken 1,400 cheese slopes of blue and red or whatever, which is good.
Yeah. Well, because it might sound like a lot of parts, but it wasn't a stupid amount of money though, because I always take every part in the line when I buy it. It's an easy pack job for the store owners, so I will always approach them for a discount. I don't always get it, but I at least ask. And I have got, in some cases, if the parts have been hanging around in their inventory for over 12 months, I've been cheeky and asked for half price and got it.
Well, that's good. That's fair.
Hey, if someone's been sitting on a part for like 2 years and they've got like 10,000 parts that they've been sitting on for over 2 years, but then it's worthwhile them quitting them to freshen up their inventory with stuff they can actually sell. So they wake up to that and go, okay, I had one guy, he's rubbished me. Yeah, I said he was greedy. And I asked for a discount, and then 1 minute he's given it to me on sale, and next minute he's withdrawn his discount. So I just said he was greedy. And the only problem is with Bricklink, the way they do their thing is the store owner always gets the last say on the feedback. So he left a whole pile of crap about me. So I'm currently in a dispute with Bricklink to withdraw all the comments, and he reckons it should stand. And I've gone, no. I said, you had no right to down me when you're the one at fault. I've just said what it was, straight out. I haven't, and I actually posted all the conversations between us to Bricklink. So it'll be interesting to see how this one gets resolved. But I was just, I asked the guy nicely for a discount. I said, I don't care if you don't give it to me, but you've been sitting on all these parts for well over 3 years for the majority of what I'd ordered. And so here's a chance for you to freshen up your inventory. If I'm taking, 40,000 parts off your hands in one go, that you've been sitting on for over nearly 3 years, that's sort of a chance for you to get rid of them, me to get what I want. Let's come at a price we're agreeable with, I ended up buying them, but I only got like 5% off where I was, originally looking at like 20 you agreed to. So I thought that was a bit rude. And sorry, I just dropped something. And then the other thing was we agreed to a postage deal, and next minute he shoved it into premium postage and cost me a damn fortune.
Yeah.
So that was really upsetting. He's I'd agreed for him to go around the circumvent the normal shipping and ship because it was a fairly large order to ship it through another means rather than postage. And next minute then he's gone and shoved it in the email and it cost me a damn fortune. And I couldn't do anything about it unless I made my appearance on Bricklink look absolutely horrible. And so I'm not impressed, but anyway. That's the only bad experience I've had with Bricklink, seriously. My experiences most of the time have been pretty damn good. I've learned some countries you just stay away from because the postage rates are too stupid. You just can't, Oh, look, America. It doesn't matter how cheap the parts are out of America. The postage kills it every time. You only buy out of America if it's really rare stuff you're chasing because pretty much it just works out too expensive.
Well, that's why we found with Brickout that does come out of the States. What we tend to do is we get a massive bulk order for the guys in the lug who want to get certain stuff, and then we'll just go in on one big bulk lot and then wait until it gets shipped by boat.
Yeah, and that's it. If you can ship it by boat, you can then save that postage thing. But UPS is just stupid pricing out of America. It's just crazy. I mean, I've had several orders where I have actually needed the parts, and I've been looking at like $30 US in parts and actually $35 US in postage. It's over doubled the cost of the order in postage, so it's just stupid. And they've been good shop owners. They've tried to ship it in as many small parcels as they can to try and minimise it.
Yeah,
it's been good in that respect. They've tried their damnedest to get it down. They just said, "Look, we can't do anything about it now." This is where we were talking, I think, a few weeks back about these new shipping companies that sort of you pay a subscription fee to every year and they ship as much stuff as you want. Yeah. Surely by now, Bricklink could have worked out some deal that they could ship out of the majority of countries at a set rate or a good price if you subscribe. I'm sure if you ask the average Bricklink shopper to pay $100 a year for unlimited shipping on their stuff, they would jump on it. There would be no hesitation. You don't need to be spending, the usual $250, $300 a year on Bricklink to make that worth your while, because usually your costs are getting close to the third mark on what you buy is usually postage out of most countries.
Yeah.
But the other thing too, I know we're getting a bit heavy on Bricklink here, but it's probably worth knowing.
Hey, it's my channel. It's all good.
It's all right. No, it's all right. It's just do keep an eye out for the sales. Because there is some of these guys have incredible sales. Some stores will actually discount. Now, what they'll do, they'll withdraw the majority of their inventory, and they'll just put the stuff they haven't moved in a long time out on really stonking sales. So you will see half price or better sales. I've bought entire Bricklink store inventories at 60% off, 70% off.
Wow!
Because all they've done is pulled everything out of the store, but what they haven't moved and put it on a ridiculous price. And I've actually gone in there and bought the entire store. And then as soon as I've bought it, everything goes back in the store 2 days later or a day later, and it's all cool again. But gave me bragging rights for buying a whole store.
There's no shame in that, mate.
No shame in that. Hey, man, the first Bricklink order I ever did was out of Holland. And I'm looking at them going, I bought everything in his store bar one thing. You know, like sorry, two things. There was one minifigure and one old 4.5 Technic gearbox, which was the right angle one, 25 reduction. And I looked at it, I had one of them as a kid. That was a really cool part. Oh, look, even if it doesn't work, you know, it's still it's something cool to have. So he wanted like 60 cents for it. So stuff it, you know. That, and I looked at the minifigure and gone, $2 for a minifigure. It was the only second-hand part he had in his store other than this gearbox too, by the way. Everything else was new. And I thought, look, for another $3 basically to say that I've got bragging rights, I bought the entire short store done, you know, I just paid for it. Anyway, what I didn't realise though was by buying those 2 extra parts at $3, I shoved the postage up by nearly €4.
What?
Because the gearbox just shoved it over the weight limit.
Oh no!
But when it went to the next limit, he actually sent me 3 minifigs for free, and a little bag of gummy bears. And what was even better, some Dutch salted licorice, which I really like. I can't eat the gummy bears for some reasons, but the Dutch salted licorice was really appreciated. So yeah, unfortunately, that guy's closed his store, or else I'd be giving him a plug. But yeah, he was really cool. I bought a fair bit of stuff off him over the next couple of years, and we always had a good laugh that I bought his entire store. So yeah, but,
good stuff, man.
You have a good laugh at it, you know. Like, and I like shopping on Bricklink. A lot of people say you should buy sets and part them out. Dude, you can't do it. You know, like I need parts in like these sort of quantities. That's a small bag for me.
Yeah,
you know? That's trans neon. That's actually one of about 7 bags that size that I ordered this year. You know, when I get parts in these size bags, I get actually rather disgusted. Oh no! The guy sent me the order in like 5 of these bags for 1,000, like 200 per bag, and then he's wondering why I got held up in customs. I must have thought I was shipping drugs, mate. I don't swear.
It all looks like ice.
Yeah, big ice dealer. Yeah, right. ABS Ice. No worries.
He's supplying all Phillip Island.
Yeah. Well, as we said the other night, you know, wonder if they have to actually go and test it. Then the reason why it gets held up for so long is they've got to go and buy the parts to replace. You think with the amount of stuff they've got to pull up, they should have a supply at customs in Australia to just, you know, okay, yeah, we need 50 of them, chuck them back in. Anyway, so what's everyone else doing at the moment? You better take me off present there, Timmy.
Yeah, mate. Will do.
Maybe you should ask Jeff about what he likes about Lego.
Yes, Jeff.
He's been quietly just chuckling away.
Quietly sitting there.
Yep. Quietly sitting there chuckling. That's a good idea. Thank you. What's your name, Aussie Brick Chick? Do we just call you Aussie Brick Chick?
Yep.
Okay. Or ABC.
Or ABC for short.
ABC. Okay.
Just call her anything you like, except for late for dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's just Aussie humour for everyone that doesn't get it. That's the pretty common tagline in Australia.
Well, I'm getting a much bigger appreciation for Lego just listening to you guys, especially hearing about the Brickvention in Australia. And I think one of the reasons Tim asked me to this was because when I was over at his house, probably, I don't know, a year ago now.
Yeah.
He started showing me all his builds, and I thought, wow, there's more to this than I thought. I thought, you know, when I was a kid, obviously I like playing with Lego, just like most kids do. But it was kind of left there, and I'm just started asking him a little bit more, and he started introducing to me the whole world of Lego again. And yeah, it's big, and there's a lot of people doing it, and there's a lot more to it than I ever expected. So yeah, and I guess with the advent of computers and Minecraft and all this sort of thing, kids are getting a lot more interested in building things themselves virtually. And then I don't know if I haven't ever tried the Lego game. Have any of you tried the Lego game?
Yeah.
No.
What's that like? But they're starting to be able to design things virtually in Lego as well, I believe. And then probably build it in real life.
LDD, the Lego digital designer has been,
Lego digital designer.
Yes. Yeah, that's been a thing for a while, and a lot of people do their mocks on that before they actually do it in the physical, with bricks. So, it's something cool, and those Lego games and the apps and the phone games, especially over here in Hong Kong, as you know, Jeff, the kids are so technologically savvy, they're right into it and hardly read books or anything. They're all technologically based.
Yeah, but I think the best thing about it is that they can go online, do their build electronically, which is what they're used to, and then they can actually make it in real life with their hands. And that's kind of really amazing. And to be able to get all the parts and everything, you can't do that with Minecraft at the moment. So
true.
Yeah, so I think that's a good plus for Lego. So yeah, and so I'm listening to you guys thinking, how is this going to apply to me? Where is it going to go? And what can I use it for? And I was thinking, actually, when you were talking, Darren, just before about Hong Kong bricks, I was thinking there might be a place for a Lego appreciation channel on how to appreciate Lego, because you were talking about what sort of things to look at, like the detail that people put in and the different lighting and all those sort of things. And I think people that are getting into this, that want to get into it further, might like to know more about what sort of things they can add into their Lego to make it more appealing or more interesting or whatever. So, those are some of the things that I just picked up from you guys.
Yeah. So it is one of those things, though. It's sort of like most of us that come back to it later in life tend to appreciate it from a very different point of view from those who have never gone away. Right. So I had techniques I used as a child, or even into a young adult, that I just have expanded upon, especially with the way I build vehicles. I've always been a fairly realistic vehicle builder. So if I build a truck, for example, in 6 wide, I build with 2 chassis rails. So it will actually look like a real truck. When there's no body on the back of it, if it's a semi-trailer, you can I'll put things like the drive shaft in. So you can see the drive shaft diffs, things like that. That's just the sort of detail level I go to. And for those that know me well know that if there's clearance lights across the top of the cab, the Lego logos are all lined up perfectly. They will stand up to a magnifying glass because that's how I put them on.
That's fantastic.
I'm OCD, don't worry about it. But
it's a great place for it, yeah.
But as a professional photographer, I do a lot of close-up macro stuff.
Right.
And if I'm going to show a photo to someone of Lego work I've done, and I'm going to put it up projected on a screen where the Lego logo is going to be like, over, say, 30, 40 centimeters tall, it's quite obvious when you've got 4 of them in a row and they're not level.
For sure.
So it does sort of pay to get that right. That's just my little quirk. That's my level of perfectionism I try to strive for. But as I said, I do like to I really appreciate the play of light. Unfortunately, most venues don't have good lighting as far as
most venues shit light.
They have shit light. I mean, the REB, as an example, which is where Brick Venture is being held next weekend, or this weekend, should I say, coming up. It's the worst venue I've ever shot in as a professional photographer for lighting. It's just horrible. The light comes from every direction. It's so diffused and scattered. And yet at the same time, you're playing with about 6 different colours of light, colour temperature-wise.
It bounces off so many different colours as well.
And then when it's coming off of all the models as well and getting confused even more, the chances of actually pulling a really good skin tone in there is near impossible. You've got to bring flash. If you want to pack a good skin tone in the REB, you've got to be packing flash or forget it. You're just going to be trying to do so much correction in post that you'll lose it. It'll blow your mind. And sometimes you can't even recover it. So basically, recommendation, anyone that's trying to take photos of the kids, make sure you get a flash. because you will not get good skin tones against any of the models. It just doesn't happen. The camera reads it all wrong. The amount of just odd coloured light bouncing around that you wouldn't consider, but then you in the photos. So we had one group of people. I had to sort of go back and, as a favour, process their photos for them because everyone's skin was green. Wow. And it's just one of those freaks because the white balance reads it so wrong. It wasn't a hard fix. It was a bit of it was a white balance adjustment, and then I had to actually kill some of the colour on certain levels. And once I sort of made a filter to fit it all, it sort of worked. But it was still a bit of messing around to get it right because this person's come in and gone like, but I've taken like 1,000 photos of my kids with models. They all come out with like, they look like they come from Mars. And I'm like, no, I don't think Martians that have red skin, not green skin.
Wow. The things you don't think of, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. So you also got to look at that. We actually have a chat occasionally about photography on the Friday stream as well. And, that's things you've got to take into account. And even shooting a white balance in there before you start doesn't actually work in that venue very easily. So even if you shoot a correct white balance, that doesn't mean to say you're going to get it right because the light changes from 1 foot. You change your
high windows, and then you've got higher ceilings and lower ceilings, and like even like taking a white balance for like for one display.
You have to take a new white balance for every shot basically because you move your point of view by 1 foot and it's different again.
Good opportunity.
So I have noticed though that the stuff against the walls photographs a little bit easier than that's in under the upper level. You can get it slightly easier going that early in the morning. So anyone who's going in to photograph and you want to get the stuff on the outside walls, you've got to get it either very early in the morning or near on closing time to get decent light on it. You've got to get it when the light's low angle in the sky. And that this time of the year is really going in the morning, so you're not going to get it.
Are you trying to say something, Jeff?
I was just trying to say it's a great opportunity for some budding lighting engineer to get in on the action and start doing something for the venues if they're listening.
Yeah. Look, with your actual models, of course, with a lot of these events, power is a problem getting power to your actual display site.
Right.
So some venues you can get it, some you can't. And so, for example, I've got one build which relies very much on the direction of lighting. It's not going to look good in this building. I know that. It's not going to look its best, but I'll try and make it work as good as I can. Next show we go to at Bendigo Bricks, I will be bringing in a fairly large battery-powered spotlight to cast the light from exactly the angle I want it to come from. So basically I'll be bringing my own sun to cast the shadows across the mock the way I want it to. Because bring my own sun, yeah. I'm going to be packing sun, dude. But it's true. It is true, though, because it's like if you look at the piece of artwork which you've made in Lego, the shadows and the light play are just as important as what you've built. If you've got a minifig standing there and he's casting shadows that look like he's standing in the middle of the MCG with 4 light sources in him, he's casting 4 shadows, it doesn't look right. Your mind just goes, oh, I know I'm looking at artificial lighting, and it does your head in. Whereas if you can then overpower those multiple light sources and put one on it that casts one nice, really low angle, long shadow, that then takes your model to the very next level because you've made the shadows work for you, and people walk past it and go, holy hell, I'm seeing something here which my mind equates straight away is this is late afternoon or early morning because of the length of the shadows in the build. And it just adds that next level to it, takes it to another point. And it's something a lot of people don't consider when they're building. But first thing I do when I'm setting up for a build is I will put a light source off to one side and go, right, where am I going to work this light source from? What am I actually aiming to do with it? And so it's the same as if I'm setting up for any product photography, anything like that. I introduce a static light source, so a constant light source with a lamp. And I might have to snoot it down, which snooting down means I'll have to put like some sort of shutters on it to control the amount of the beam.
Right.
or it might just be a wide open flood. It doesn't matter, no matter how you've done it. But the first thing you should do when you're building is, okay, you need a certain amount of light above you to actually work by, to actually see what you're doing. But then also have a reference light source from where you would like the light to be in the sky if you're building a landscape or something like that. And when you do that, that's when you really build those mocks that are epic, and because you're actually building to create the shadows. So it's interesting. A lot of people don't consider it, and it doesn't mean to say they don't achieve it, but they just don't consider it. When you point it out to them, go, hey, dude, when you're building this, stick a lamp over here and just watch how the light falls. It's done it here anyway, but look at it. And then they go home and they go, you know, we did that. And we know now that when we rebuild this, because a lot of people go away from a show and come back with a new version of it for the next show they go to that year. You know, we try to freshen it up a little bit between shows unless it's something that's really we want to stay the same show to show. They'll come back and they'll go, dude, I did that and I've just increased the height of the trees a little bit, or I've opened it up a little bit. So now it actually, the branches cast shadows on the ground like they weren't doing before. Those sort of things. And it does make a difference. Yeah. So it's something to consider when you actually start your build. Consider where you want the light to actually work for you and where you would like the shadows to be. And it makes
you're going to overwhelm the man. He hasn't even started.
Good pro tip.
Let him put a couple
of have fun. Have fun. That's the whole thing. Have fun.
And this is where I interject and say, no, not everybody cares that much.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. That's just
Daz is a perfectionist, and I appreciate perfectionism.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you got to get something built.
Yeah,
so
that's like anything, right?
That's exactly why I'm now facing 40 hours of really constant building. In the
journey starts with a single step.
Yeah.
With 2 bricks together.
2 bricks?
Yeah.
Well,
that's the first step.
That's the first step.
Well, I can put together 3 at once.
Look at me like I'm a crazy woman.
Tim, you look like you're doing pretty well there. How's it coming along?
Present, Timmy. I'm still on present, mate.
Hey, no, you're not. Hang on.
No, it's not.
Oh, it must be me. Sorry, it's my end then. Sorry, I've got to click back on.
You're special.
I got me on. That's all it is. That's all it is. Me.
It's
now,
all me, myself.
my end wrong. I was just looking at myself. How good's that? Not.
You need to talk.
So
now I can see what Timmy's doing.
Yeah.
Oh, Dad, zip your lip for a minute. Do some building.
So now this gurney should fit in here this way, like so.
Woo!
Like that. And then I can put on the studs, I can put a minifigure, and that should be good. Oh, look out. Hello.
This.
Douglas, woohoo.
Douglas is here.
G'day.
Howdy, mate. There you go.
So, Tim, where you've got that black around the top there in the 1x1 rounds, it looks like.
Yeah, mate.
Have you considered doing that in some trans brick at all, just to make it look like a light panel?
I have, and I have got the brick. I have got enough trans yellow or trans blue now to actually do that.
Yeah, just think it might lighten it up a little bit. That's all, and sort of, you know,
yeah.
To it.
In this,
just as you're saying with the lighting, yeah,
yeah. In this cup, I've got some trans pieces, so I just wanted to work out spacing and sizing.
Yeah, mightn't have to be every row of it. Might be, you know, every second one or something, but just yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Or, you know, if you've got something else you can work with, maybe make it look like a bit of stained glass paneling or something like that.
Yeah. Well, hang on. I'll see if I can grab the laptop. On the actual hospital, if I can get an angle of it, I've got the trans colours in the front of the building.
Yeah, love it.
So I've done that as a pattern around the front of the actual of the front of the facade of the hospital, and then on the front I have those pieces that you said that your friend might have some more of, the original hospital Red Sea sign.
Yep.
So I've got that, and I'll hopefully can do some more of that around the actual side of the building. But if I put some colour on these on the top, yeah, I think they'll actually all look good in trans blue and yellow.
Yeah. Where did the inspiration come to build the stained glass front wall, mate?
I just like to put quirky things in my builds lately. I mean, I've been doing that recently because of the availability of the pad walls. I'm enjoying it. I think it looks cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
Too. I like it. It's cool. It's just one of those things.
It's different.
I just like sort of asking people where they get their inspiration from, because it just helps others sort of understand how we think.
Yeah, well, I actually entered a small, like one of your small little builds that was on the smaller base plate for your
Vignette, 8x8.
your vignette. And I did a small build for our club because I was doing a vignette build and in a few Wednesdays back, and I just thought, hey, I've got all these trans pieces. Let's just make like a window and then put something behind it, and then I had another guy who had some official Lego lighting who gave me that to borrow for the actual display for the actual judging of it, and it looked so awesome.
Oh yeah, when you backlight it, it looks stunning.
And well, I did that, and I got second.
Woohoo! Cool.
So from that, I've incorporated into this custom.
I haven't noticed one little section here on the diner.
Oh, cool.
The way it just slots in. That's pretty cool.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Thanks
Yeah.
for coming and
Interesting
joining
stuff
us.
on it.
Yeah, Douglas, thanks for joining us, mate. What are you building?
What was that again?
What are you building, mate?
The diner.
I saw that comment.
Oh, lovely.
Hang on, I'll put you on percent. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, it's coming along nicely. It's
Wow.
Oh, that's
impressive.
very well-
That's eye
love
candy.
that teal. That teal looks
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. It's a pretty impressive build, that one. I think whoever cooked that one up done very good.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they were cooking pancakes and bacon by the looks of it.
Pancakes and bacon.
Oh,
Yeah, dude.
it's all good, Douglas.
Well, if pancakes and bacon are on the menu, I'll
The
go
only
there.
problem is the back corner doesn't cook down properly.
What? The back corner doesn't sit down properly.
Got to force it down. It doesn't just fit in. There's always one corner that you've always got to force with these things.
Mm,
Yeah, that'd be right.
you get that.
Yeah, that one recalcitrant piece that won't slot in the right space.
Recalcitrant. Does anyone actually use that word?
Yeah,
I just did.
yeah, exactly.
Well, okay, let me rephrase that. People that aren't teachers?
Sorry, Jeff and I are both teachers.
Like I said, people who aren't teachers, do they use that word?
Maybe.
When it's appropriate.
When it's appropriate.
Oh, goodness gracious me.
Yeah. But I also got bring my mud back on. I also got these as well, Darren. I found
Yep.
that was not on the pad wall, but that was at another little shop in Inns Point that I siphoned all his stuff. Yeah, I saw your bag of it. I ended up with a bag that size full.
And
I Snapple for 30 HK, and I thought that was bloody
more
good.
more of that colour, but in a different shade. Oh, this is, anyone ever seen? Now we're talking about this. I know that Cherie's brother likes this particular packing method, but has anyone come across this packing method from a Bricklink store where they have a continual stream and they just heat seal between the lots?
Yes.
Wow.
And
I've got a lot out of Germany like that, Daz.
Yeah, a lot comes out of Germany like this. So that gives you an idea of that. I've just bought everything of a line out of this particular store, and that's just the quantities happen to be there. But yeah, so you can see I buy a few transparent parts, especially trans neon. So yeah, but all new, like these bits at the top, they're actually again, I got them cheap because there's something been sitting in inventory for over 5 years. Yeah, picked them up for a song. So it was one of those things. We were just saying, Cherie, that your brother likes it when they pack these sort of bags. He was saying one night he liked it when they do this.
Oh yeah, no. I think he was talking about wanting to pack his parts.
Pack his parts like that, yeah. Well,
yeah,
but it's just heat sealed between the things in a continuous sleeve. So, yeah. But I think if I was running a Bricklink store, this is the way I'd do it because quite simply, it'd be quick and it ends up being a lot lighter for the customer. So you're saving about 20% on the packing weight. It's weighs about 20%, should I say, compared to normal Ziploc bags.
Yeah, and also Ziploc bags are probably a lot more expensive.
And not only that, they can come apart sometimes, whereas this can't come apart. So that is the most secure way to actually
all nice and sealed.
Yeah, it's a little bit fiddly when you get it, when you finally get it, but the fact that we've saved so much on postage, etc., makes up for that. So
not that fiddly.
Yeah, just a comment. What else have I got there? Yeah, just some more of the trans stash. So, trans neon parts came in huge quantities. Here we go.
Are you even using them anymore?
Beg your pardon?
Well, your trans neon, that was for GARC, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm still doing it. It just depends on whether I get it done, how quick I get it done. This again was another part. There's a quarter of a round there. I'll actually take one out. It's easy to show it.
Yeah.
This part here, I think it came from a UFO build at one stage.
Oh, yeah.
A very cool part. Something I wanted for GARC. I mean, most places, they were secondhand listed at $5 and $6 each.
Whoa.
This guy had them sitting in his shop for like 5 years.
Wow.
He turned around and gave them to me for $1 each, secondhand, and $4 each for the new ones. So, but it was only if I took the new ones as well.
Yeah.
But considering I bought nearly 40,000 sort of parts off him in the last 12 months of Trans Neon, he looked after me. So, yeah. I cleaned out a lot of his really old stock and he was grateful. So, but yeah, it was interesting. He just kept finding it. He goes to me all the time. He goes, look, I haven't got a lot of this stuff in inventory because I've got a lot of it in storage because it just hasn't been selling. And he must have kept going back to his storage unit and going, oh, I found treasure that I can sell.
What can I flog off?
Oh, he just sent me an email, man. He goes, I found another couple of kilos for you.
Oh, what?
So, it was sort of one of those cases where once someone knew you wanted it, I'd say he was just whether he had it in storage or not, it was one matter. He was probably ringing up all his mates and going, do you want to move this stuff? I can move it, like possibly like that. But that doesn't matter. I got it all from him at the right price through him, and so that's just the way it goes sometimes. It was good though. It enabled me to get parts I needed, and when I finally get my GARC finished, it's going to be something pretty outstanding.
Awesome.
And I might have actually found a source.
On the panel, Gark is a type of Lego build where you do a small scale spaceship.
Right.
Jeff, and they have a whole race course set up in Lego, and they have these small mini fighters that what's done it?
No fighting, no weapons allowed.
Yes.
This is an example of a Gark spaceship.
There you go.
The build has to be limited at 10 studs by 10 studs square, or long. It has to fit in a 10 stud, but the plasma trails can extend beyond that. And all these bits in the back that are green actually glow under UV light, which I don't have one here at the moment. Damn. I normally have a UV light source here, but I haven't got one at the moment. But yeah, they glow under UV light really impressively. And when you've got a whole pile of these things, and the hoops that they race through are sort of also done in UV parts, it's pretty impressive. If you've seen any of the UV lit in Lego stuff, it's pretty amazing. As Cherie was saying on Friday, they have glow zone sections in some Lego shows that are pretty damn impressive. They'll do all sorts of stuff in them. So yeah, it's one of those things. You know, I started buying parts and it just sort of got carried away, and yeah, a couple of other builds got pushed aside, but it
happens.
It happens.
Yeah.
I've now got to get back to my brick bench and build now. I've pulled something apart. I've got to put it together again.
Yes.
I had to recover bricks of a certain colour out of a build, so yeah. Build one thing and then got to pull it apart to recover it to use it for something else.
It's a sad day.
It is a sad day. And all because the particular colour I wanted is sort of like, yeah, it's just my OCD. I probably could have used a similar shade, but it's not going to happen.
So what are you thinking of the Dino build, Douglas?
I'm thinking it's really, really good. Actually, it's
good, mate.
Back to that little window bit. The way they put this bit together is like that little bit there just slots in, and then this bit here locks on top.
Nice.
So what is that one of being 3 wide there, or just 2 wide?
It's 2 wide.
Yeah.
So it's just a normal the slider. You know, the slider glides they put on the bottom of cars and everything.
Oh, okay, right. Yep.
It's just one of them with 2 1x2 plates on the back, and it just slots into the gap. The 1x2 plates slot into the gap on the angles, on the arches.
Very, very clever building technique there. That's sneaky.
Very interesting stuff on this.
Mm.
So
that's one I think I'll be including in a few builds. I love those trans slider plates. They're useful for so many things.
Yeah.
The other bit that was really interesting in this is this stairwell here. Look how sturdy it is.
Nice.
Wow.
It's not going anywhere.
It's freaky. Yeah, I know. Like it did break apart at the end, but you got to really shake it.
That's cool.
Yeah, so as you can see here, that's how I've used the trans slider plate on a half sphere to make a pretty cool light fitting for a roof. So if you can see that.
Hang on, I'll put you on %. Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's the little details like that. I mean, a lot of people look at what's on the floor, but they don't look at what's on the roofs. And if you're building the detail into the ceilings, it makes a difference.
Heck
yeah. So that's just a very simple little light fitting, and it works. Being a very contrasting colour helps. Another example of a pretty intensive sort of ceiling scene. For these guys, they wouldn't have seen these before. Here's part of my Neighbours from Hell, the disco level. So there's a friend's disco going on in there. I'll take the roof off. There's the scene inside. She's got a DJ decks going and so forth. And there's the roof section with lighting on the roof and a mirror ball.
Cool.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. The mirror ball actually came out of a second-hand lot I bought. Had never seen them before. I knew they existed, but I'd never seen one. And when I saw this load of bulk, I didn't care what else was in it. That was the one part that made it for me.
Awesome.
Don't get me wrong, got a lot of vintage stuff out of that build too, but out of that particular buy too. But that was the choice part as far as I was concerned because it was something I was going to instantly use in a mock. So yeah, that was a cool score on that one. But for the rest of you guys, here's another layer out of here. Here's the neighbour from hell, the bass player. So yeah, that's just there's some pretty massive speaker stacks there. So she goes right in the middle of 9 floors worth. So yeah, that's there's 2 massive speaker stacks there, and it's just like that's just the way it's done. So yeah, I'll show more of that from Brick Bench, and I'll put up some pics, put a slideshow together for next week. So yeah, but it's all about having a bit of fun. You don't have fun when you're building it. Don't have fun when you're displaying it. Don't do it. I love displaying. I love putting smiles on people's faces. Why we do it. So, have you had any major shows your way yet recently, Timmy?
What's that, mate?
Any major shows over your way recently?
We've got in Feb. We've got one coming up. And it will be held, I believe it's going to be held in the Hong Kong Convention Centre.
Yep.
Which we're also going to invite some of our compadres from Taiwan and the mainland. And we're hoping to actually, get that up and, that's going to be shown in mid-Feb. So I want to take, if I can get this hospital done, I want to take this as one of the buildings I want to add to the cityscape that they're going to do, and maybe a couple of small my crop builds and maybe some dark stuff if I can get my my finger out and get that going too.
Well, it sounds like you got a bit on the go then.
But yeah, lots of building to be done.
So for those that aren't familiar, what Timmy said with the Microp, that's Micropolis, which is a micro city scale that myself and ABC are both into heavily. It's a very cool scale to build in. To give you an idea, a car is a jumper plate with a square tile shoved on the top of it. So a jumper plate being the 2x1 plate with the one stud in the middle. And it's a pretty cool scale to build in. I'll see if I've got a little example of some of it here somewhere. There's a bit there. So that's a bridge. That little piece just there is a car in scale. So that'll give you an idea of Micropolis scale. So yeah, that's in bits at the moment. Can't show you a complete bit, I don't think. Yeah, not easily. What have I got? There you go. Here's part of the build I put up last year. This was actually an underground parking garage for the police station. So there's a whole pile of police cars parked out the front, and it went under a hill. So the whole police station sat on top of the hill. Very cool scale of building. That's actually 1/4 of a city block, 16 by 16. So 32 by 32 is one city block. And each block has a street, which is represented by the black, and then the grey tile represents a footpath, and the white bits are pedestrian crossings. So there's a set formula you build to, which is put up by Twin Lug out of Chicago. And if you just go and search Twin Lug Micropolis, you'll find it. It's a very cool scale to build in, very addictive. And you will find uses for parts that you have never thought you'd use in bulk before. Just a cool building technique. At the moment, I'm just loading this plate with 2x4s. And so I just build a stick of 2x4s. And because I'm not worried about the colour, just whack them on and just keep going across like that. And it's just so damn... Because I'm trying to demonstrate it, it's not being quick, but yeah, I just keep going across like so. Yeah. And you can back them in really quick. So,
yeah.
Sometimes little building technique tricks save you a lot of time. Yeah, see, now I'm not trying to do it to the camera. I did it about 5 times as quick. It's the way it goes, though, yeah. And another thing for those that are newer to the scene, mosaics are another really cool thing to build.
Yeah.
That really, an art form. I haven't actually done any mosaics as yet. I've got a few planned. Coming from an arts background, that's something I should have really probably got into earlier, but I'll get there. But some of the mosaics I've seen displayed in the last couple of years have just blown my mind. Incredible. There are some very talented people out there. So, yeah, if you haven't been to a Lego show and you're just dropping your head into this to see what the Lego scene's about, get yourself to a Lego show. Seriously, it'll blow your mind what you see people build.
Yeah, I should get you to come to the one in Feb, Jeff.
Yeah. Send me an invite.
I will. I'll hook you up.
I'm just looking it up.
It should be. I think it's the convention center. Hong Kong Convention Center is where it's going to be. But HK Lug is going to run it, and I think also Sino Group is also going to sponsor stuff there too. So it should be good. What's that you got, Douglas?
That's the new flower.
The new flower piece, yeah.
Can we get that a bit closer, mate?
It's about as close as I can get to the camera.
Wow.
It goes
I know, probably pull it back a bit so it's in focus.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, right. Cool. I want him.
Yeah, so it's the same size as a stud, but yeah, a little flower pattern.
Cool.
Yeah. Sweet. Cool. But yeah, you'll be amazed, Jeff, what people do build for these shows, and what people how much work they put into the build.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I mean, as I said, you saw my fire station. I mean, that took at least that's got a lot of hours in it. And we really spend a lot of time on this hobby.
It's very therapeutic, though.
Oh, it is.
And money.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
If you're not under
Sometimes
pressure
you
to
can.
finish something, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has the good times and the bad times, Siri.
And there's different aspects for it for different people too. Like my partner actually finds it very therapeutic sorting parts. So good on her.
Yeah. It's good for you.
It's good for me. And that's one of the big differences between basically when you build to display and you're sort of playing with it as a kid. When you're building a display, most people tend to have their parts pretty well sorted and can sort of lay their hands on stuff. Yeah, I said most people.
Most people.
I knew you were going to giggle out of you.
ABC is laughing.
Oh, you're so funny, Darren.
Yeah, I said some people. I didn't know. Sorry, I did. No, I did say most. All right, some people have pretty well sorted out.
You seriously go mental if you saw how disorganized my Lego was. You'd have a conniption, seriously.
People still use that word.
Oh no!
Okay, you would seriously lose your shit. Put it in a less It is so disorganized.
Oh dear!
Oh dear, this is starting to sound like a Friday night stream now.
That's what she said.
Oh no, now it really is.
I think the eyes have it.
Oh no, I wore that joke out the other week, mate.
I'm just recycling it on my stream, mate.
Oh, no. Hey, Timmy. Hey, Timmy, hey.
Yes.
I think I need to go. I'm
Okay.
very tired.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's getting
Bye
late.
bye.
Thank you for coming to ABC.
One
Thank
second.
you very
don't
much.
have to call me
Yeah,
Cherie.
ABC.
ABC.
Sure.
All right.
Nice to see you, ABC.
That's all right. It was nice to meet you. And
Yeah.
nice to see Douglas. I saw him on a live stream on last night.
Cool.
Yeah, with Mary. That was fun.
Yeah. So I lifted his email address.
I'm getting
You'll have
scared.
to come for a Friday one, Douglas.
Yeah, Friday. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
On ABC's channel, yeah.
So I work
Drop
on
into
Friday,
the
so I
chat a
don't get
bit.
on till
Say,
about
one's
9:30.
drop into the stream, mate.
Yeah. Oh, good. All right. I was going. This is not going to be
Okay.
a no hang up.
Hope the show goes all right.
Okay, all the best.
See
Bye,
ya.
ABC.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for coming.
Bye.
And then there were 4.
Yes. I know it was good.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It's good to have ABC on. For your info, Jeff, ABC actually helped me get the YouTube up and running, and my technophobia that I have and stupidity with computers. I'm a complete technophobe. But yeah, ABC's actually helped us a lot, so I appreciate her and what she's done for the Lego community in Oz, and also an expat over here. So yeah, she's good value.
It's good she gave you a bit of a push, mate.
Yes, mate.
Yeah, and that's one of the beauties of this community. There is a small group of highly competitive people who it's win at all costs, but then there's a lot of us like myself. Yeah, I'd love to win trophies. I love to win things. I'm competitive, but not to the point where I won't say that someone else has done something damn good either. You know, if someone's really pulled it off, you go up and pat them on the back and say, "Dude, you've done really well," even if they've absolutely trounced you, because if they pulled something out of the bag to do that, and you've done your best and they've just gone and annihilated you, no point in getting upset about it.
No.
Some people do. No, we do have the odd one that does that, but the bulk of the community is so accepting and so helpful. Like the amount of calls that have gone out this week we have a special page for Brickvention. The number of calls that have gone out this week, there's so-and-so got such and such a part, and next minute, you know, there's people driving 40 kilometres or more in each direction to make it happen.
Wow.
You know, or I'll be picking up parts from so-and-so. Who can I drop them off to on the way along the way? So, you know, one person basically did a courier run, you know, and dropped parts off to a dozen people in one go sort of thing. It happens. It's just great to see it happening. Because we've had a lot of trouble with deliveries being held up. So a lot of people didn't get stuff they were sort of relying on. And yeah, it makes it hard when you can't just put those last few little details. And it might be just one or two parts, but they might be the ones that make or break the build too. So
Absolutely.
and there might be critical parts you need to put in that you can't put in at the last minute. So
Gotcha.
That happens. So, but yeah, that's a great community. And the one thing I really like about the community as a whole is very, very accepting of people that have got Asperger's and things like that are on the spectrum, because a lot of people in the community are like that. It's and yeah, when you belong to a LUG, which is a Lego user group, yeah, they're pretty awesome clubs because they're very inclusive. You know, there's nothing exclusive about them all. They're very inclusive, and that's one of the greatest things about them. And we don't care what you like, as long as you don't behave in a bad-tempered way.
Yeah.
You know, we don't care if you're a bit odd in your behaviour, as long as you're not creating other people distress and drama. You're pretty welcome.
Mhm.
You know, yeah, we have the odd kid come along who does have behavioural issues, and we get it, and we just go, well, okay, but go outside and you throw your fit. Don't need to do it here in front of everybody.
Yep.
And let's work it out. You know, it's
Yeah.
you want to be a part of this. We'll accept you have issues. You know, and it's good because it's one of the few places they're actually made to feel welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And often they're very talented at what they do too.
Quite often too, yes, is very much the case. We get some kids on occasion that have got so much damn talent, and it's just a pity they don't get ever a chance to actually focus it and use it.
Yeah.
which is really the sad bit. We've had, I can understand. We had one guy in a meeting a while back. He really does have Asperger's really, really bad, and everything has to be in its place, and everything has its place. And someone came along and knocked over his build he was making. It was quite accidental. It wasn't done deliberately. And for like the first 30 seconds, he was like, "My parts are all over the floor." Dude, it's happened. Get over it. 5 or 6 will help you pick it up. It'll be sorted again in a minute. So, half a dozen of us got there and sort of down hands and knees and picked it all up and made sure it was all clean and tried to sort it back as close as we could to the way he'd had it, and then it only took him about 5 minutes from that point to sort it out, which was cool because he'd calmed down by that point. But, seriously, if that had happened at home, it would have been a major thing. If he had knocked it over himself, I think he would have been in a severe distress. So the fact that we all pitched in and cleaned it up and got it back in order for him quickly saved not a major meltdown, but a meltdown. And, it's just one of those things that sort of happens, just a couple of kids were having a bit of fun and got a little bit out of hand and knocked it over. It happens. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
But, it's when we see the really sad stuff like we did have a case of one of the major builders in Australia, Ryan McNaughty. He built a huge helicopter and some kids actually deliberately pushed it over. That's just absolutely sad behaviour, Like the big firefighting helicopters, Elvis, that was just disgusting. Like,
the Sky Crane. Yeah. The kids came and smacked it over.
Yeah.
That was just disgusting
I have
behaviour.
no idea how much time goes into it, right?
Yeah.
It's almost when you want to grab them and say, right, you're going to build this again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right. The problem with models like that is they're all glued.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
So a lot of it, when it breaks, it actually shatters the parts. So when they
that's
actually
ridiculous.
rebuild that, there was probably a lot of work set down with a die grinder to sort of cut parts out again and then start again.
And given that a lot of those parts would be really custom.
No, they're not custom. They're just it's just the way they put them together. There's no special parts used. He uses actually Ryan on the whole uses very standard brick. Doesn't use very many custom or the more sort of refined parts at all. But that's just the way a lot of those guys build. But very hard to become a Lego certified professional these days. It's a very tough call to make the grade.
Wow.
But when you consider you put thousands of hours into something and then someone just gets jollies from pushing it over, I think that's a bit sad. But anyway, the world is what it is. So,
Yep.
And whether you like him or hate him, I mean, Ryan McNaught has got a love-hate relationship in the Lego community, but
a lot of it's just jealousy, though, mate.
Hey?
A lot of it's just outright jealousy.
Yeah, true.
I've got nothing against the man. I don't agree with a lot of his building techniques.
Same.
But that's on a different level. I just,
Yeah.
I think if it won't stand on its own 2 feet, it shouldn't be displayed. But and just getting back to this too, this is a very purist attitude from me. But I believe when you're displaying something, fine. If you've got to glue it for display to make sure it'll make it through a display, that's one thing. But when the only way it'll actually stand up is because it's glued, then it's no longer a Lego structure.
Right, gotcha.
If the only way it can actually stand up is because it's been glued together, it's not really a Lego creation anymore. It's just something made from Lego bricks. It's not actually a Lego structure. And that's probably me being a little bit more Puritan than most people, but I've seen what people do when they do get to the higher levels of the game, what they can actually build.
Right.
And when you get people who build absolutely stonking models staying within the system, then you really appreciate them even more.
Because there's a lot more design.
There's a lot more engineering
that has to go into it, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I understand from an insurance point of view, they've got to put steel structures inside things and things like that. But when that steel structure is actually then used as part of what helps it actually be built, well, then it's a different matter. And that's just my take on it. I wouldn't build like that. That's just me. I mean, I've had a couple of things I've had to glue for displays. I don't say I've never done it. I have. but it was about 12 parts, and it was only because if I didn't do it, it would only take the slightest bump, and that particular build would have fallen over. Now, you can't have that in the middle of the display. Something's going over it and falling over on it. So that's a slightly different case, but still don't like doing it. It's
Yeah.
I really don't encourage. And and not only that, you've got to be able to bloody get your bricks apart so you can use them again.
So what sort of glue do you use for that? It's obviously not super glue.
Yeah, it was actually in that case. What they do, there is a couple of options. You can actually use PVA, so just plain old, good old white woodworking glue.
Gotcha.
And it won't give you the highest holding strength.
Right.
But what it does allow you to do is basically stick it in hot water and it'll come apart again.
Gotcha.
And it's one of the few that won't actually cloud transparent parts easily either. Most of your other glues, you put them on transparent parts and they just go opaque. So you've got to be
dries clear, right? So.
Yeah, it does dry clear. It goes on white, dries clear. So doesn't have the highest strength component to it, and a lot of the guys that do actually use it aren't looking for high strength anyway, and they will actually water it down so that it's even easier to get it off the parts. So it dissolves even quicker. And it's just a matter, if you are going to use PVA glue, just do a few trial parts at different strengths to see how you achieve the strength you need. You might need very little. A technique I use quite a lot, can I find an example of it?
Reaches around.
Yeah, no, I did have an example of it. I'm just trying to see if I've still got it.
Yeah.
All right, when you have... I built a brick separated building. Oh, I love that leaf element, Dougal. That's cool.
Wow.
That's the other new one. Yep.
That's cool. So I built a brick separated building in Micropolis using the brick separators laid out in a cross pattern like this. Now, the brick separator is actually very loose in its connection. It's designed to be. It's not actually meant to be stacked together like that. However, if you use the tiniest bit of paper in here, like on top of the stud, you put a little square in there between the two of them and put them together, it's damn near impossible to get them apart again because you've increased the friction fit or the clutch power. So that was a technique I used as a kid to increase the grip on axles, etc. Technic axles, a little bit of tiniest little sliver of paper or sometimes even a bit of wool or something like that would increase the friction fit and enable you to do things you couldn't have done before. Again, only do it for display. It's that building will stand on its own merits, but for display it has to be toughened up a little bit or else it'll fall over in the middle of the display, and you don't want that happening.
No.
So,
hell no.
No. It's hard enough to put together that building as it is without knocking it over in the display. It's yeah. And considering next time around it'll be going up to about I think I've got enough brick separators now to probably take it into nearly the meter mark. So, yeah.
Nice.
Well, that's the aim. If I can get it to stand at the meter mark, I'll be happy. I don't think so. I'm just going to keep pushing it, though, until it won't stand up and then start again. Work out what the destruction point is. As you do. It's sort of... Yeah, it's one of those things. But, yeah, and it's all... Lego is great in that sense. It's very much an engineering toy. So a lot of us that build with it regularly really don't like calling it a toy. I don't care. Call it what I like. It's fun. Look, as an adult, I only got back into it about probably just on 3 years ago. A long time away from it as far as owning my own Lego bricks. But every time I got a chance to buy some for my friends' kids for birthdays, Christmases, whatever, they got Lego, dude, because then I had an excuse to sit down and use it with them. I mightn't have owned any, but I played with a lot of it still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you do.
For sure.
Totally, mate.
Well, it's interesting. In the case of one of my friend's daughters, she was having a real hard time with mathematics at school and science at school. But she was determined she wanted to become a robotics engineer. So when the first of the Lego Mindstorm sets came out, she really wanted one badly, and I told her straight out. I said, you go and pull good marks in those subjects you're doing poorly in, and I'll buy you a set. she brought home the marks good enough to get it. I gave it to her. 3 years later, she was accepted to uni with marks high enough to get in to do robotics.
Whoa.
7 years later, she was nearly one of the leaders in her field, all through basically Lego.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's the stories you want to
does
hear.
the first program, she designs robots. She is one of the leaders in the automotive manufacture, like robots for the automotive industry.
Sweet.
So yeah, and that just came about from something that she saw was as a cool toy to start off with, and then realised that, oh, this is a bit more than the robotics I thought it was going to be, and started making some pretty cool stuff. And it was surprising that a lot of the programming techniques used in Lego Mindstorms at that stage were very similar to what they still use in the automotive industry now. So very similar. So one led to the other fairly seamlessly. I know another person I know from Holland, Anika. She does she's a Mindstorms expert, and she's going on to work in the robotics field for a living, and she does some pretty cool stuff. Like her dad works for Bosch and on sort of future development for cars, and she made this pretty much what was the I can't think of the exact term now. It was a cruise control for cars. I can't remember the exact name they used for it. But basically, every car within a certain distance of each other locks into the same cruise control signal.
Right.
Wow.
So if you've got 50 cars inside, a 200-metre radius, and they're all travelling down the one highway, they all lock to the same signal and stay at the same speed, so they maintain their following distances.
Cars are Bluetooth to each other.
That's why they say
Like they're
self-driving.
Bluetooth to each other.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it actually allows for them all to. The way it worked is if any car does change its speed, so any of the drivers interfere with it, all the others react instantly as well. So whatever gets applied to one car basically gets applied to all the others as well, speed-wise.
Yep.
Pretty cool concept she came up with. It's sort of. I was pretty impressed with it all. It worked because she proved it. She built it all in Mindstorms and proved that it worked.
Wow.
So to prove her theory to get her degree.
Well, that's why they say self-driving cars are safer than. They'll be much safer, and they'll be banning human drivers because, once they're all automated and linked together, they'll work really well. It's
going to get to the point where I would say we don't sort of do too much huge prediction on this show, but I'm going to outright call it right now that I'll say within 20 years, the only way you're going to be able to drive a car yourself is either in a third world country or on a racetrack. Then you're going to be self-drive pretty much everywhere else because it'll be the only way to get the road tolls down.
Yes, for sure.
I get really appalled with people's driving behaviour. I really do. I just can't see it. Interestingly, we had an accident. I live on Phillip Island, which has one road on and off of it, one bridge on and off the island.
Yeah.
And if the road gets held up for any reason, you can get stuck for hours. Well, we had some clown, I'll use the term clown, really, really figuratively here, blocked the road completely. Those clowns they have at the sideshows that turn side to side, you put the ping pong balls in to score the points?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those trucks rolled over on its side.
Oh, wow.
And it had the big clowns signage across the back of it. So, the comment was, some clown was driving too fast for the conditions. Oh, it was, mate. They were pushing way too hard on a wet road to roll it on what was like a 1 in 20 grade. On a really good stretch. Actually, probably one of the best stretches of road on Phillip Island. Which is still not saying much, but anyway. But, pushing way too hard on a wet road with near bald tyres, and it just really scares me. It's sad. Yeah, I see so many examples of poor driving. I think the quicker we get driverless cars, the better. I love driving, don't get me wrong. I've driven since I was probably about 4 years old. I was one of those kids that grew up on a farm and everything with wheels on it was a target. I could drive a tractor and actually plough a straight line by the time I was 7.
Wow.
So,
Necessity, huh?
Yeah, not necessity, just that you wanted to have a crack and they gave you a go back in those days, and next minute you're out ploughing the paddock so someone could do something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can go and tie the fences up and you can go and plough the field.
Yeah, well, where I first started actually driving was probably at about just over 4.5 years old. We had an old Ford truck that barely had power steering in it. And it had a hand throttle to set it to go really slow. And we used to pick up hay bales. And my grandfather and my stepdad would be on the back loading hay bales. And I'd just be trying to hold it in a straight line and making sure we were picking up the hay bales on the side, because you just got to guide them into the chute. Yeah. And at the end of the row, I didn't have enough grunt to actually like turn it around. So they just lean over in the cab and swing the wheel around and line us up in the first hay bale. And I'd drive it from there until we got to the other end of the paddock, about probably half a mile away. And then we'd go around the next corner and so on and so forth. And until it got down to the point where you were turning too many times to make it worth their while. But that's how I started driving. So, yeah, I just got to hold the steering wheel and made sure it went in a straight line. But yeah, I still had to guide it onto the hay bales, because if you got it wrong, you made a mess. So, and then, a couple of years later, I'm driving tractors. So just the way it went. But I started racing motorbikes at 6 years old, as you do. Yeah, not really. And
when you
got
can.
Got into trouble when my stepdad came home one day, and he's caught me going. I had been really cunning. I'd realised there was this thing called a restrictor in the carburetor, and if you took the restrictor thingy out, this restrictor plate, or drilled it out, it went a real lot faster. So I'd realised that he used to look to see if it was in there, so I just drilled a big hole in it, so it went quicker. And he caught me going really fast on my motorbike, and he'd realised that I'd bored the restrictor plate out.
Oh, no.
So I lost my motorbike for a few weeks over that one. And then about 6 months later, I was talking to someone in the pits, and they've gone, yeah, we heard your experience with the restrictor plate. That was pretty cunning of you, or clever of you. And you know how else you can make him go faster? And I'm kind of like, how? I'm all ears, guys. How do you make him go? Oh, you play with these things called the reeds, and you can. Next thing you know, man, I had my entire like RM80 in bits motor-wise, and I'd changed the port timing by grinding it out with a file. I was that rough and ready, but it worked. It worked. I just realised if you dropped it by like 3 millimeters, it just worked a lot better. It went a lot harder, and. Yeah, I was actually forced to go and buy a brand new barrel at about $300, which was about half the cost of a motorbike in the day. And yeah, I wasn't really happy, because I went from being very fast to being a lot slower again. But I just realised the next time I did it, didn't make it quite so obvious. But he wasn't really happy that I was pulling my own engines apart and putting them back together at 8 years old.
Wow.
No manuals. I didn't know what a manual was. I just pulled it apart and made sure it went back together again the same way I took it apart.
Yeah.
It's a great way to learn.
Mechanic, I didn't have a shortage of tools. It was all right. There was always plenty of tools at home. It was just, had to make sure it was done inside working hours. So I had 10 hours to pull an engine apart and put it back together again.
Wow.
Bring it back to Lego.
Before he got home.
I do like that. Didn't that come up neat, mate?
Looks good.
Nice little touch.
Yeah, not bad.
Catches the light nicely and just puts another little touch to it. And it's sort of, now it's also tying it into what you've done in the front of the building a bit more too as well.
Well, that's it. That thanks for that. That actually, a bit of synergy happening, mate.
Well, now you can see why people ring me up at odd hours and saying, "Can you have a look at my build?"
I can understand that now, Daz.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. And we bounce ideas off each other all the time. It's not like it comes one way. I'm quite often doing the same to them, going like, "Oh, what do you think of this?" And it helps to have that feedback from your peers, because
absolutely,
you then know if you're on the right track or not, or whether you've wasted your time. Like the current build I've got now, it's seriously, I had an engineering issue. I spent 50 hours pulling it apart, or 50 hours building it, and then pulled it apart and started again. And then spent about another 15 hours on it and got to the point where I had to pull it apart again. So about 65 odd hours, nearly 70 into it before I really started again. However, that being said, it has come out a lot better within the restrictions I was forced to use for engineering. So it's not the way I originally envisaged it, but it has come out very acceptable and probably a little bit better in some respects. So, yeah. Don't ever take a setback as being a total end of it. You know, sometimes you can make improvements from it. So it's
totally.
And that's the same with your life too. You know, you get knocked out, you get back up, get on with it. You know. Interestingly, there is a lot of Lego groups out there that pretty much cater to people who have had severe injuries. Lego is used as a tool in a lot of hospitals as a means modifying motor skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the fine control required to sort of handle it all.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these people then leave hospital after they've had major road trauma and stuff like that, and then just continue with it. And yeah, it's good. Good to see that happens.
Some people just need the excuse to get started.
Exactly. That's all it is.
That's one point I infect you with, Jeff.
You
That's the roof on.
I'll have to talk to the wife. Yeah.
It's not a matter of you don't have to spend a lot of money either. When you get involved in something like Micropolis to display as a group build, you know, because you can basically initially, I'll say initially because it doesn't happen like that once you start getting more serious, but initially it's just out of your scraps. So what's going in there, Douglas?
I was just thinking, Tim, with his roof and the glass line, you might just need one white line between the glass and the roof, just to highlight the glass better.
Yeah, I've got some white studs. I could do that. That could work okay.
Yeah, it's like a white bar line just on top. It's before the grey. It'll highlight the colours better.
Yep. No, we can do that. That is doable, my friend.
Yeah, it doesn't even need to be round, mate. Even just a line of plate would probably help there.
Well, I've got that too. So I'll pull out one of each and see what you think. That's always a good tool. But yeah, it has been I'd say a very fun build, this mock, but it's also at times like most mocks a pain in the bum. But
this is what I've been working on while we've been talking. It's actually a base plate for my 8x8 vignette because it will not stand during an exhibition on 8x8 base plate without being knocked over. So I've got to stick it on something much bigger.
Yeah.
So while that's multicolored, it's all going to be hidden by tile, so it doesn't matter. It's just filler. So it doesn't matter what color you use. This is also an interesting point too. When you're mocking, so mock is model of own creation. When you're mocking and building your own designs, it helps to have just a grab bag of parts that you're sort of random stuff, more or less, and use it in the way you would have used it as a kit. It's just a kit of random parts, and you don't care what color it is. Just chuck it together and make sure the concept comes out. And then you can then go, and as long as the parts are available in the right colors, you can then go and build it all in the correct colors and fine tune it. But it's just good to have that grab bag of parts every now and then, just grab it and go for it. I know a lot of guys who build micro scale spaceships, for example, as a bit of a hobby,
Right.
or micro aeroplanes and things like that. And they actually have like a little, almost like a small lunchbox they take with them everywhere, and they'll sit on the tram and build micro scale spaceships on the tram, you know, or on the train, you know.
Yeah.
That's their thing. That's cool. And you look at what they come up with, something you think like, wow, it's just amazing you managed to actually build that on the tram for one thing, you know.
Yes.
You know, but it's just this little box of go bits, and sometimes it'll be a box with divisions in it, because it helps these sort of parts. But sometimes it's just very much a random box, and I've seen them. We've been to events, and they'll just throw it out on a park bench and start playing with it, or on a park table or something, and start building with it. I had my Micropolis this year. I took Micropolis to about 8 out of the 12 geocaching events we attended this year, because my missus is riding the geocaching, and it's really not my thing so much. I'm just a chauffeur. I'm the muggle chauffeur. I do the geocaching a bit, but I make them rather than solve them. And so, they don't call me an evil muggle for nothing. So, I make very evil geocaches. Anyhow, so I was just putting together my Micropolis at each event because it was something I was taking with me wherever I had a bit of chance to spare time that was otherwise going to be dead. Gave me a chance to do a bit of building and get into my main builds for the year. So that's why Micropolis is a cool thing. You can build it anywhere, anytime, because it's such a small scale. And you can do it out of grab bags of parts. So sometimes the challenge is to see, now, what have I got 1,000 of that I'm not using? And see how I can put a building out of it. Yeah. Like I was at a Lego market where we have every now and then with our local lug, and once a year. And someone had put a few bags of this particular part up. Now, this particular part is a 10 long by 1 bow in a rather unusual colour, being the dark brown or the reddish brown.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, now, how can I use that to make a building in Micropolis? So I've been playing with it and playing with it, and I'm getting there. And now I've got to see if I've actually got a section of here that I've been working on. It's here somewhere. Excuse the noise, people.
Yes.
I can't find it now. It was here just the other day. I don't know. It's there somewhere.
It's always the likely story, Darren.
It is a likely story. No, it was here. I know it was. I had it just the other day. But you know what? As I said earlier, I was moved stuff into the lounge room, and I've probably moved it in there. I've been trying to clean my lounge room up, my office up. Yeah. That's the likely story. Getting the office cleaned up. When that happens, I'll be throwing a big party in my office and making it messy again. Doesn't matter. But basically, I worked out a way to make windows to go along with it, and use that part up quite effectively. So it's how it works sometimes. So you look for a strange part, but like I as I said earlier, I cleaned out a couple of Bricklink stores, and one part I bought off of this one particular shop was just over 2,000 light blue grey light holders. And I'm thinking, like, how? I bought it at the time. I go, I could probably trade them with people, or someone's always looking for a few of them. I used nearly a lot in one building.
Yeah.
Just the way it happens. You thought you'd never use in quantity, and next minute you've just used it. I mean, and Cherie's the same. She's just gone and, Micropolis is like that. One minute you think, I'll never use that part. Next minute you're looking for more of it. A lot more of it.
A hell of a lot more of them digging around for the buggers.
Yeah. Oh, mate. It's, as I said, my build for next year's got like well over 100,000 transparent parts in it, just in one Micropolis build.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It is like roughly 3 meters by 3 meters, but still, that's a lot of brick. We're looking at well over 250,000 parts in that build. So. Yeah. Doesn't take long to amass serious quantities of parts.
Oh, hell no. It doesn't.
Especially when something like Micropolis, there is no such thing as a large part in Micropolis. It is all usually your biggest part will be like a 2x4 if you're really pushing it. So it's one of those scales where you use a lot of very 1x1 plates or 1x1 tile and things like that. So the big part used in the biggest quantity is probably 2x2 tile for your roads in black, which can be very hard to come across at times.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Okay. That's the plate.
Yep.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, I like that. I did actually lift it a bit. That was a good suggestion, Douglas.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah,
good.
'cause with all the trans and all that, I've noticed if you don't border them properly, they just don't pop.
Yeah, and you'll find that
Yeah.
part of the reason being there with that white, it will actually catch the light on the white and
Yeah.
reflect it back through the brick.
Oh, okie doke.
You get trans parts and
Oh.
put them on certain colours, they just won't pop.
Yeah, no, I've noticed that over time, Darren.
Like, for example, with those water sections I do, so I'll just grab one. I got one here behind me somewhere. Here one. Yeah, so like this is my grab bag of Micropolis blocks, just an old shoebox with some stuff in it. And I built a lot of these over the period. Now, with this, I know I've shown this to people who watch regular, I've shown this, but if you look at the way the light catches that, as you walk around it in a display, it's actually waves and they look like they're moving as you walk around it, as the way the light catches it. Now, when you put those blue slopes straight onto a blue plate, the light does not reflect through them at all. They almost look black. So when I'll get up close to the camera, if you can see, there's a line, one row of trans 1x1 plate underneath it. That then catches the light and brings it through it and gives it more reflectivity, and so it pops a lot more. You build a plate of that without that layer of clear underneath it, and that has nowhere near the reflectivity, does not catch the light anywhere near as good. It almost looks black in certain light. And yet when it's
like it's bouncing the light around underneath it.
Yeah, it does. It really moves the light around underneath it. And with the setup I'm doing next year, I'm actually going 5 levels deep with that trans clear. So I can actually then step it up onto islands and things like that. So you can actually see the islands disappearing, shelving under the water and things like that, and beach lines and those sort of things. So that'll just take it to the next level again. And that's why we've got so many
How
parts.
deep can you bury?
Hey?
How deep could you bury a fish for it to still show up?
1 layer, I reckon. I'm going to do some whales. I'm going to have a bit of a play with some whales. And I might get into a bit of a joke and maybe create a Loch Ness Monster or something like that to stick in there. I actually saw a very good Arctic setup where they did a whale buried at a show this year. And the whale was about probably 30 studs long, maybe a bit more, probably about 12 to 15 wide. It would have been about 45 by 15 studs, I suppose. And it only had a very small part of it actually sticking out of the water. It was in an Arctic scene. Very small part of it sticking out of the water. The bulk of it was under like trans blue tile. It looked very well. And then we noticed they did a similar thing with the Ninjago set that came out, the city set that came out.
Yeah.
With fish buried under the water. So, the techniques are there, use them. But with trans parts, you've got to have something to make them pop, or else they just look horrible.
Sure.
So that suggestion of putting the white border on there, mate, was exactly right. That really helped them work.
Yeah, thanks, Douglas. Now I've got to try to fit it into the bloody hospital. I have while you've been talking, I have been rejigging it, and the truth will be now when I put it on the guide line, the actual guide rails. As I took your suggestion to get those yellow fire station poles.
Yeah.
I couldn't get the old straight ones, but I could get my hands on a bag. Well, when I say a bag, a small snap-lock bag of 4 of them, and I've got two are going to be on in this elevator, and then I'm going to I've got another build that I'm going to do with another elevator. But I've also snagged some of the Lego official Lego rope, and I'm going to make up a pulley system, like you said, with a counterweight.
Yeah. Oh, if you need more of that official string, I've got some. So no drama.
Oh, okay.
I've got a fair bit of that. Oh, we're not just that fair bit, but I've got a few packets of it. The way I'd really do the elevator, or the way I'm going to do it in one of my buildings, is using the screw part that comes in the worm drive gear that comes in the Technic sets, and continually stacking them up. And the thing is, if you then use the gear drive, the gear rack on the back of the elevator, and you stagger it in such a way as it when it drives up and down the worm drive, you can have gaps in the worm drive because the racks go long enough to cover the gaps. So you can then have the axle slide into the wall properly. Gotcha. So and because of the way they work, you can actually use the worm drive as a joiner to join axles. So the length you make it as nearing, you could go a metre tall even if you wanted to, no dramas. So
yeah.
And the beauty is with that, you sort of then you can power it, put it on a line storms or something like that, and just have it stopping at floors and adding a bit of action to it all. You don't actually want it just running up and down. You actually want it stopping at floors. So
yeah, that's what my premise is. I want it to actually be able to. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I do want it to do that, so I can have it go from what will be essentially the helipad on the roof to the next layer down, which will be the emergency theatre for medevac patients. Then go down to the regular level, so cardiology, down to respiratory, down to spinal rehab, and then down to maybe ground clinics, just for argument's sake.
Yeah.
I
But
think that's where
I'm trying to work these bloody things to work for me.
It's cool.
The boost unit's got real small motors.
Yeah.
But you can actually, it's just the control unit's a bit large, but you can actually hide that underneath everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't actually got my hands on the boost yet. We were talking about that on Friday. As you say, the control unit's big, but sadly it doesn't work in with the Mindstorms with the connectors apparently, which is a bit sad. But
oh, really?
They might have done that deliberately, though, to stop it from being nicked.
Someone will hack it with Bluetooth so you can hook them up together.
Yeah, it'll happen.
It's just a matter of time.
Always is. Always is. It'll happen. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. Oh, damn, bloody feet of this thing won't stick now. Oh, there you go. Because as I'm rejigging it, I'm trying to set it so it's going to sit flush, and then as it goes down the guide wire, now it's going to hit the bottom of that window shelf. Great. I just have to step it out further. Fun and games.
If it wasn't fun and games, you wouldn't be involved in it.
True.
But yeah, like I've one of the things that sort of I was at the first Brick Bench I went to, which was 2016. And this is a funny little story. I'm not having a crack at anyone here. This is just a matter of how people, especially kids, perceive things.
Yeah.
Now we had Ryan McNaught was standing there talking to this young lad, and the question that always comes up is, "What's your favourite thing that's here?" And that's the question. Yes, what's your favourite build? And the kid goes, "The Titanic." And Ryan's gone, "Oh, really?" Because Ryan had a big Titanic at the front that was broken in half and looked like it was sinking and everything. What the kid was at, and he goes, "Which one?" And the kid turned around and pointed to the one that was right behind him, which was a more scale-like model of it, with no sort of action scenes or anything going. It wasn't good at a mini big scale like Ryan's was. Ryan's was like that. It had like multiple scenes and lots of jokes in it. But the one thing that got this kid, so then he's gone like, well, Ryan's gone a bit crestfallen at the time, but then he's gone like, "But what do you like about it?" And he goes, "I like the fact the propellers turn." So the motion was what got the kid in. It wasn't the rest of the build. It was the fact that it had something moving in it. And I think that's something you have to keep in mind as a builder. When you're displaying, if you can put a little bit of motion in it, even if it's only one or two little things, it does make a difference. So you can hide all the clever things you want and put all clever scenes in, but if you haven't got that little bit of motion, sometimes you might fair whack of the audience.
Yeah.
So, like I said to you, Timmy, I've done a similar thing with my police station with an elevator and my fire station as well. Now, because they both have helipads on their roofs, they're both going to have radar dishes on the roof that rotate.
Yeah.
So that's just another element you can put into it. I also have revolving doors in those buildings which rotate.
Yeah.
So you've always got a revolving door rotating. You've got a radar dish which actually deliberately turns in the opposite direction. Yeah. And then the elevator which moves up and down in a very random fashion just to add another aspect to it. Yeah. I might eventually get around to motorising the doors on the fire station so they open and close. But yeah, one of the helicopters. I wasn't actually looking at putting a helicopter on the roof of the fire station. I was looking at doing a bit like an Osprey with a VTOL tilt rotor setup. Yeah, and sort of so it goes through a sequence of where trying to use some of the clear technique arms, so it lifts up the roof just a little bit and goes through the transition from being the rotors vertical to sort of laying over and then back again and landing again. Goes through a bit of a tilt motion and sits itself back on the roof again. So just does this really short hop off the roof and then comes back again. But if you tried to make it go too high, it wouldn't work, I don't think. So
no.
I just looked at it, how can I do it and make just a little bit of action in there. But that's a bit of a...
there's a guy over here in our log, Kevin, what's his name? Kevin, what's his Chinese last name? Oh, Kevin Wu. He has automated the Technics helicopter, the rescue helicopter, the orange, the not the orange one, the yellow and red one, like the Westpac one.
Yeah.
He's fully automated it, and he's put a kit engine from a standard remote control petrol helicopter in that, and it's completely flyable.
Oh,
it's insane! It is insane.
Off the chain, mate.
It is insane. I have to get the video up for you. I have to show you it. It's incredible. It is seriously incredible.
Post the link.
There's a guy in Europe who uses base plates to make remote control aeroplanes.
Yeah.
For the wings.
Oh, really?
How the hell that works? But it works.
Well, look, when it comes to, because I actually came from an aero modelling background for many years, and when it comes to aero models, mate, you can actually make just a flat piece of balsa plate fly. You just got to put enough power to it. It's a simple matter. It doesn't have to have an aerofoil shape at all. In actual fact, the Lego base plate, by its very nature, because of the difference in the shape of the studs on the top and the hollows underneath, I have to prove this scientifically, but I reckon it'd actually create lift.
Yeah.
We'll have to try that one day as a little experiment. Does a Lego base plate create lift? Mythbusters, take that one on.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it probably would, just by this fact that you've got the dimples on the top, like the raised studs on the top, the dimples underneath. It would probably create a low pressure area underneath on the top and make it lift.
Yep.
That's what you need to airflow. With different airflow resistance.
Exactly. That's all it is, just a difference between the top and the bottom. But as I said, there is actually a lot of symmetrical airfoil aircraft out there for stunt flying. The airfoil pattern is exactly the same top and the bottom, so there's no actual. They're identical profile top and bottom, and they just fly simply on just sheer power. You know, they just put a lot of power to them and they just move. That's all it is. So it's got nothing to do with aerodynamics as such. It does help with the control of the airflow, but that's what it's more about. So because these things are designed to fly right way up, upside down on their sides, if you've got more lift on the top and the bottom, they won't knife edge and fly across the sky on their sides. They'll want to keep turning in a circle.
So they're the ones they can bring right down and just hover them just off the ground, aren't they?
Yeah.
And then take off again.
With some of the, what they're calling 4D now, which is an indoor electric one, they actually have reverse pitch propellers on the electric motors, and they can actually hover them nose down off the floor.
Far out.
They actually stand them vertical on their prop, not hang them off the prop. They actually push the prop against the airflow on the ground. And
what?
Yeah, off the chain, dude. It's off the chain. It's just like, I'm thinking, why wasn't this crap around when I was doing it? You know, like, this is just insane. Yeah, but I used to build area modeling to a very high standard and high. Like I was seriously building world class area models, in scale, and I used to deliberately build very old school, World War I type aircraft or that era. Not exactly World War I aircraft, but I wasn't into military aircraft, but around that, 30s and 40s type of more sort of stuff between 20s and 40s almost.
Yeah.
And I couldn't fly. Oh, straight up, mate. I do most other things, controlling things well in my life. As far as flying model aircraft, back in those days, my biggest problem was the radios were rubbish. Too easy to interfere with, and I'd get shot down all the time, and I'd be losing. I just couldn't get enough flight time to actually get them, and I got very good at building them because I got very good at repairing them. It's simple as that. That's all it was. And so I was building at a very high level, and I've actually built some models or parts for models. Didn't build complete models, but I made a lot of parts for the really top end guys in the things. Machinist. Another thing I do, and so these guys. What really got me was the guys who were winning weren't the guys with the most talent. It was the guys with the biggest checkbooks.
Yeah.
That's what I got out of it. I got sick of that. I just and it's still that way to this day. It's he who has the biggest checkbook and can afford to attend all the overseas meetings wins. That's not that's not the spirit of it.
No.
So it's Formula One,
that's
basically.
Not fair.
It is. And so as a result, there's also been a rebellion against that too in another sense. In that since there's been this ARTF sort of scene coming, which is almost ready to fly, you can pretty much go out and buy something that you can take out, and with 10 minutes work at home, you can basically make it flyable and run. It's made the hobby more accessible to a lot more people, and I don't want to get back into it. I really don't, because I know I wouldn't be able to stop at that level. I know. Look, I'm very aware of where it would go with me. I'd wind up at the point where, in no time, I'd want to be competing with the big boys, and I'd be wanting to fly $50,000 jets. Nah, I don't think so. I don't want to go there. I've got the reflexes to fly them, but I don't want to be flying. The radio gear is good enough these days. That's but seriously, we got these guys that they're flying model aircraft that are capable of doing 400, 500 kilometers an hour. They got proper working jet engines in them.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. They got jet ones now, don't they?
Yeah, they're proper working jet engines. They're insane. Another thing I'm going to have a crack at, not too far down the track too. There's been a bit of thing I've seen. Probably shouldn't be saying this, but we'll see. There's been a bit of a thing getting around to see who's built the world's fastest Lego car, as in 100% Lego components.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have a crack.
Is that any size car, or
it can be any size. It's just using the Mindstorms to control it, or the infrared, or whatever you want to do. The biggest problem is you don't have much range.
Yeah.
So
the range is limited.
So you basically have to base it with a real car and drive it from a real car. I've seen a couple crack around the 70 kilometre-hour mark, so they're claiming. I don't think they've actually done that. I think I could do a lot more than that. The way I've seen these guys engineer, I'm just going like, really? What sort of a joke?
They reckon the Porsche with two extra large motors is meant to be able to do 60 k's an hour.
Yeah.
With the gear ratios it's got.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true.
No, that'd be fairly right. From the sort of figures that I looked at it, but I've seen these other guys and I'm thinking like, I'm seeing what they're using. I'm going like the speeds they're claiming, and for the weight, and from what I've actually seen the videos of it at, guys, I know I could do a lot better using similar equipment. The design's all flawed. It's not built. At those sort of speeds for a start, aerodynamics aren't going to do much. So it's really not an aerodynamic factor at under 100 kilometers an hour. There is some aspect to it, but it's not a huge factor. But what's more important is you've got to be able to make sure you get it to the ground, and you can't overgear it either. You've got to make sure the engine is running at the maximum to achieve the maximum speed. If you overgear it, it just won't pull the gearing.
No, well, that's it.
The tyre size is going to be the critical factor.
Yeah.
So at the moment you're limited in a couple of sizes on tyres, so that's where your limiting factor comes in. But we'll see.
Yeah.
It's just one of those one day down the track projects because, quite honestly, I'd say if you're really seriously attempting this, I'd say you burn out a couple of dozen motors quite easily.
Oh, for sure.
And as they're not offering motors anymore into lug bolt,
Yeah.
They don't want to sponsor me for a world record attempt with the world's fastest Lego car. Hit me up.
Send your donation to Care of Phillip Island, PO Box.
No, just send it care of the GP circuit. Just say Lego racing car, and I'll find it.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, it's something you probably could crowdfund. Or just donate. You don't have to add money. Just send me your bits.
Yeah.
You part of your trophy can head back. You can head back the bits I blew up.
Yeah. The bits that fell apart you can keep.
Yeah.
I don't know if this shows up on the camera, but the rock and roll guy, all the sparkles on his top, when you move him around, the way it catches the light.
Yeah, a little bit there. It's sort of...
You get that nice little sparkle sort of thing from it, like they're gems.
Right.
That's quite
so
cool.
What is it, like a pearlescent finish, or...?
Just got to do the roof. I'm up to stage 5.
Yeah.
Wow.
The little guy there, has he got like a pearlescent finish on him, or are they individual stars?
It appears to have... That's what I was looking at. It appears to have like a that UV coat over the top of it that makes the paint do that.
Okay. So it's probably got a pearl coating.
Yeah, they used to use it in the comics to achieve this. I don't know if that stuff would stick to plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Now I got to find some more black tiles. I hate having to pull apart builds to make so you get bits you need.
Yes, I know.
Wrong.
Not fun.
Yeah.
So wrong.
Well, guys, I'm going to have to head tonight, but thanks very much for all the commentary and the info. It's been great.
That's all right.
Jeff,
Good to see you, Tim. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, you're welcome.
And I'll check up on the stream a bit later and see what else I missed.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
We'll probably just dribble shit from here on in.
Great meeting you guys.
Thanks.
No worries, mate.
So have a good night. Take care. Huh?
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
And then there were 3.
3 of us.
Nice.
Nice stuff. Oh, good to have my mate along.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. Actually, he and I have been trying to brainstorm Darren to get a school program up, and I thought get him on and see what he can sort of get some perspective on the idea and the hobby and that. And
yeah, we can chat about that another time, mate, off stream, for sure.
Yeah, of course.
He's a teacher as well, obviously.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it is one of those things. Though Lego is a very good educational tool, and as we've discussed before, the Mixels were a really cool thing because they taught you to build in very different ways, and there's also a bit of a story behind it, so the kids can also then write their own things, and it helps in that respect too. That it becomes we got the kids to do it on Part ID to start off with, to trick them into doing mathematics.
Yeah.
So you've got a 2x3 plate, How many studs is that? Oh, it's 6. You realise you, in your rush to impress me on your knowledge of Lego, you just did some mathematics. We won't tell you that, though.
Yeah, exactly. You don't tell them that. That's the trick, Darren. That's a trick, mate.
But yeah, we just snuck some sneaky mathematics in there, and you didn't even realise it.
You didn't even have a bloody clue.
But interestingly, at the start of last year, because we ran the program for nearly the entire year,
yeah,
we started in about the end of February.
Yeah,
we had 2 young girls who were about 6 and 7 who had real trouble following instructions. They would look, and you'd basically have to help them find the parts. You weren't doing it all for them, but to make sure it flowed so they were enjoying the club, you had to help them a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, we threw down some challenges one night, and we just had 25 2x4 bricks sitting in front of you, and it's a hard call. I mean, you've got they weren't matching in colour. They were just whatever we could find at the time that sort of worked. Some we didn't even have enough bricks. We had to make some of the bricks up out of putting three 2x4 plates together. To make the numbers up.
Yeah.
Because as you'd realise, the 2x4 brick is actually harder to find than people give it credit for.
Oh, totally.
So we've got these kids building, and one of them actually builds a Pikachu.
A Pikachu?
Cannot follow instructions, and she builds a bloody really good-looking Pikachu.
Fair income.
And I'm going like, where did this come from? And then Mum's just sat there and just gone like, got me buggered. She's not really even into that much, but it turns out one of her friends at school is a real massive Pokemon fan, and it's obviously rubbed off a little bit. And she'd seen her friend drawing this particular character time and time again, and the way her friend was drawing it was very pixelated. And so it transferred easily in Lego. And so I just looked at it. I'll have to dig it out sometime and show you guys, because the photo does not do this build justice at all. But it is a very cool build, regardless of whoever built it at whatever age level. But when you consider it came from a 7-year-old who at the time did not even follow instructions out of any of the Lego books, it was an incredible build on that level. Then to see that by the end of the year, she was building not only from the books at her age level, she was building at the 10 and 12-year easily level of what Lego say. Yeah, like a 10 and 12-year-old builds. Yeah, and was building her own mock stuff quite confidently. Like we did the thing for the Angel bricks where they got their van broken into. Yeah. Call out to do the Christmas mocks. Yeah. We did some, and all the kids built them, and we put them up. And what some of the kids come up was absolutely incredible. Some of them built some amazing stuff, but she was one of the most incredible builders, in that she just put she was making little presents with flowers on the top for bows, and just really cool stuff. She built really cool stuff, and I take my hat off to her, because she's grown a lot in that year. And not only did she grow in her Lego building ability, it made her more confident in life in general.
Oh, great.
And that was a really big boon for us, because we could see that.
Oh, fantastic.
Where she'd been asking for us to help her sort parts at the start of the year, by the end of the year, she was helping others sort their bits out so they could build faster.
Sweet.
So it was good. It was good. It was just nice to see that she got so much from it, and by no means was she the standout success story of the year either. We had another couple of kids with, I won't say massive behavioural issues, but they have issues at school quite regularly, and it's just because they have high level autism. There's no other way to handicode it, and they've calmed down a lot. There is no other way to say it. They've calmed down a lot. And much better behaved as a result. So
that's good.
It's been a win-win on so many levels.
Fantastic.
I'm having to make a bit of noise here. Yeah, so that was some of the real positives that came out of that for us. Seeing these kids really develop and grow like that.
Yeah.
It was great. And mixels was something that was incredible for us. We took about 40 unbuilt mixels along to a meeting one day, and we just said, there you go, pick. There was like, because we had enough for everyone to start of one particular one for everyone to start on the same one.
Yeah.
And then it became a matter of, right, after that, sort of, we'll give you another one. One of the kids built like, he was building at the rate of about under 5 minutes each.
Far out.
You know, he built 13 in an hour.
My goodness.
You know? It's just
Bloody
like,
hell.
incredible. Oh, sorry, under 10 minutes each, you were saying?
Yeah.
5 minutes each. Oh, just like incredible speed anyway.
Yeah.
You know? This was
Sweet.
the part I was talking about, Tim. This one here, you use this gear rack here,
Oh, yeah.
right? You stick them on the back of the actual elevator, and then there's a worm drive that engages with it, and no matter where the worm drive stops, it won't slide up and down. Because it's a continuous threaded screw, it just locks and stays in position.
Gotcha.
So there's a worm drive block that has I think it's a 3 by 1.5 or maybe 2 diameter thread.
Yeah, man.
And they've just slide over a cross axle, and you can just continually stack them on axles. And they won't.
Wow.
They wherever it stops is the position that it'll stay in. It can't creep.
Sweet.
So that's the way you get that one around. I'll actually do something up for you in LDD and send it to you, mate.
Okay, mate.
When I get a bit of time.
I'll try and show you this on the back of Ninjago City.
Yeah.
Can you see in there?
Oh,
What they've
yeah,
done
yeah.
through here?
Yeah.
Now, the thing with this is, if you line them all up properly, you can still do the modular stuff.
Yeah.
So that way your lift will still work no matter what.
Oh.
It's just, so that's actually quite clever what they've done there.
Oh.
Yeah, right. So how does the lift work in that one? Because I haven't actually had a good look at that set yet.
You just got to turn the knob. It's like a friction technique pin instead of.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Because I haven't built my bloody Ninjago City. It's still in my box, my pile of shame.
Your pile of shame. Yeah, right. So there's now the base for my Neighbours for Hell build.
Nice.
The 8x8 section in the middle is where the building will actually stand.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one covered.
Lovely.
So yeah, so where is he? Groundkeeper Willie. He sort of he'll sit on there like so in the middle.
Oh, nice.
And,
Groundskeeper Willie.
yeah, so that's just so it won't fall over, because this thing's like nearly 75 odd centimeters tall when it's finished.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is part of the Neighbours from Hell, Douglas, and you've probably seen me just show a bit of it on the ABC stream. But Groundskeeper Willie's in there. He's had enough, mate, of all the noise everyone's making, so he's got his backpack on and he's going geocaching. There's in references there. The pirate flag is what the dirtbag geocachers use for their emblem. There's Homer's tile from The Simpsons set in there with Homer's pea brain.
In the crown.
And then there's a book in there, Coping with a High IQ, underneath that, and the book's in upside down because you're really not coping with the high IQ at all, obviously. So the book, the book is just in there behind that. And it's just a lot of little in jokes. I mean, there's like 60 odd accessory parts in there. I've got to count it. I've got to pull it apart and count it exactly tonight. But that's yeah. So that's just one level. Like that layer I showed you earlier, the bass player. There's 204 parts in that level.
Yeah.
In an 8x8 vignette.
That's something I'm not
phenomenal.
looking forward to.
And there's also a Malibu Stacy
City
poster on the wall because he's a bit of a creep. He's got bottles everywhere. He's got a keg of beer in there. He's got empty cans and bottles stuck in crates, and Yeah, it's a bit of fun. And here's I'll show you these two stacked together so you get the reference of how the Neighbours from Hell works. Where are we going? So we have Benny in here playing with his sonic rays, which don't show up very well. I actually opened it up so you can see it. He's got a sonic beam going off there, and his sonic beam has set off Plant Man's plants, and Plant Man's getting basically eaten by his plants. So his plants grow spastic. Hey,
which one was that Rick Moranis movie? Little Shop of Horrors. That's it.
Yeah. So
Little Shop of Horrors. Yeah.
It's probably where the Plant Man came from anyway. But yeah. So we've got Plant Man there getting consumed by all these plants, and he's got his horrified face on. So yeah, it's just sort of And then Batman's in the top level. I won't show him because I can't. I haven't quite finished him yet. But Batman's up top with a rather disgusted look on his face because of sonic rays. He can obviously hear him. They're interrupting his TV player, which is Batman.
And he's Lobster Mornay.
Yeah, so with the I haven't got Batman in there at the moment, but you can actually see that the Bat logo on the TV is actually upside down because Batman's meant to be hanging from the ceiling watching his TV. So, of course, the picture on the Bat screen is actually upside down. So, just something a bit different. Oh, look, it was initially a mock I built for an 8x8 vignette competition for our lug competition. And this is way beyond what I built for that. It was just very basic scenes with nowhere near that amount of detail in them. And then I decided, bugger it, I'll display it for Brick Bench. And I really liked the concept of it. It was working quite well. And what really brought it to life was each initial floor was actually 2 runs of bricks lower. And I just looked at it and gone, no, they're too crowded. There's not enough light getting in there to really show them off. So when I opened them up by 2 rows of bricks and then added another, initially there was only 1 plate below on each floor level, and it was actually leaning over a fair bit. So I went to 4 plates thick under each level, put the white one in so you had a white ceiling for each level, and it just made it a lot better. So, yeah, that's, it mightn't be a really big build, but that seriously has about 130 hours in it. So
it would be, because the smaller the space you've got, the harder it is to fit what you want.
And one of the big challenges with that was it might be 8x8 vignette based on an 8x8 plate, but you've taken up 2 rows of studs with walls. So you're actually working the scene in a 7x7 area.
And if you want to tile those walls or something, do something extra.
Then you're taking even more. So there is actually areas where I've done that, where you can see in the Batcave, we've got actually down to less than a 6x6 because I've made rock walls in there.
Oh, yeah.
So they take up even more space.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's brought it down to a 6x6 floor area you've really got to work with to display the character. It was a real challenge. I've loved it. It's a cool build in many respects. I'm not being up myself about it at all. It's a really cool build, and I love it. A lot of my mates that have seen it really love it, and I'm going to do another one for Comic-Con based on a similar format. Again, still starting with Groundskeeper Willie, but with a whole other sort of comic characters through the scenes to tie it all together. So, yeah, we put it up on Friday, what people could suggest for characters I could use. So it'll pretty be actually the same. Batman will still be at the top. Groundskeeper Willie will be at the bottom, but what we use in the other 6 layers in between will be, we'll see. 5 layers in between, and the one on the roof will be different, but probably some Powerpuff Girls in there and things like that. Yeah, similar to
Lego will never touch a lot of the comic books I used to like. I used to like Mark Silvestri.
Right.
Yeah.
And that guy's he's not very PG rated.
No. I've got to make.
He's the guy who's responsible for He's the guy responsible for Team 7 and Witchblade and all of those sorts of ones.
Fair enough.
Like gory comics.
It was
Gory comics, all right.
amazing how many references we've had to like Deadpool and that. It's become a big thing in the Lego scene in certain areas.
I've actually got the first 9 issues of Deadpool.
All right.
The from the actual original Deadpool, the Cable, the guy used to make Cable.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you know who Cable is, but Cable's
I know Cable.
Jean Grey and
I'm a Marvel
Jean
fan.
Grey and all that. Yeah.
Jean Grey. Yeah.
From the alternate unit. Hang on, was he normal universe or
Yeah.
no? Yeah, he was normal universe. Was X-Man was alternate universe? Yeah, it was very confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the thing with these is people have to remember this is only a quarter of a room. So the way that's worked is you're displaying a quarter of a room. So as an example here, you only have a quarter of a table. Okay, in that scene. So, it's only a quarter. It's only one leg and 1/4 of the table.
It's a quarter of a table, yeah.
A quarter of a table. So people can go, what? Then you go, hang on, it's only a quarter of a room. The rest of the table would sit in the middle of the room. So
That's right.
and that particular scene there's quite a laugh because we had a bit of a discussion over this one the other night, didn't we, Tim?
Yes, we did.
It's a female firefighter in the room fighting the fire.
Oh, yeah.
So she didn't get out of the kitchen at all. That's sad that someone picked that up. But the actual fire extinguisher is actually shooting flames rather than foam. So
She's adding fuel to the fire.
adding fuel to the fire, yes. Now
Maybe
what else can
it
you
is
do
the
with
ultimate
names?
with drugs thing. The female firefighter burning a kitchen.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'll probably cop flack from that from someone at Brickvention, but anyway. I bet you anyone's watched the streams will turn around and say, eh. And I get to see it coming now. At least I'll let them know they've been watching the streams.
Exactly. So if there's anyone watching, put it in the comments below.
Yeah, exactly.
Put it in the comments below and we'll respond to you as soon as we can.
Well, it's been interesting. Just recently, I've become a member of a couple of other Facebook pages, which are basically ones for people with health issues, and I have health issues. I've got fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue and chronic pain issues, PTSD, and a few other things thrown in as well. And I just found a couple of pages with groups where people have sort of with various acquired brain injuries, things like that, sort of turned to Lego to sort of help them sort with their problems. It's amazing how many of them are going to come and meet me at Brickvention.
Which is nice.
They're either exhibiting or they're coming. So we don't see them at the lug meetings, but they're actually decided to have a crack at exhibiting. So that's good to see. So if Lego's got them involved to the point where they want to have a crack at exhibiting and get back out in the world, I think that's a great thing.
Bloody oath it is.
Yeah, so as I said, the lugs are a great thing. If those that aren't aware, Lug is a Lego user group. Get online and check them out. You'll find one in your local area. If not, maybe have a crack at starting one.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so that's one of the things I got back into Lego for, because I slipped at work and I've got bulging discs in my neck that are pushing up on all the nerves and stuff. And
and living with pain is not fun.
Yeah.
So anything you can do to distract yourself from it is a help. And it's not a matter of if the pain doesn't go away, you're just not dwelling on it.
Mine doesn't go away. Mine's just a constant, but it's a background thing.
And that's it. And so by having something to distract yourself, it's no longer the main focus of your mind.
That's right. Yep.
That's
it's
exactly
like it's not even there, which is a good thing. This is a very good thing, actually.
It never goes away, but it's not the first thing at the front of your mind anymore, and that's what you've got to be thankful for. I also found computer games, especially, well, not all computer games, but especially driving games for me were a good distraction. Hey?
You Revhead.
Oh, mate, I've been into Gran Turismo since day of conception. I actually went and bought a PlayStation just so I could play Gran Turismo. When they were stupid money, like when
the original PlayStation.
Hey,
the original PlayStation.
The original one when
upside down to make it work.
When they were like $600 or something, for about 1% of the power we have now for a couple $100.
Yeah, it wasn't even 3D. It was 2D, 3D rendered.
Yeah. And caveman technology by what we've got today. But
Bloody hell.
I got into Gran Turismo right from the start, and it's a good distraction for me. Haven't been playing as much this month as I'd like because of Brickvention commitments, but I still managed to crack into the 10,000 mark in the monthly challenges. I probably could have done better had I put a little bit of time to it, but I just thought I'll make sure I get in my 10,000 grouping, under 10,000 grouping, and then that'll be enough.
Yeah.
I have got to the top 100 and made it and stayed there for the entire month. And when I looked at the rankings for the month, at the end of the month to see who'd scored what, I was the only person using a hand controller. Everyone else was using steering wheels and things like that. So I was the only person using a hand controller. I'd cracked around about the mid-60 mark. And
Yeah.
I then, as a matter of interest, I went to see how far, because you can actually keep going through the rankings. Unfortunately, you can't make it sorted out, but you can just look at each individual file to see who's using hand controllers or steering wheels. And it wasn't until I got to somewhere over 2,000 that there was the next person that had scored with a hand controller. So, yeah. I know pretty much most of the guys that hit the top, like, 500 pretty regularly. And I know there's only about 3 of them that use hand controllers and not steering wheels. And they don't always regularly get up there. They only get in there occasionally when the cars really suit their sort of driving style. So
Yeah.
I'm regularly up there with the best of them. So I think that's pretty damn good. That's my little pat on the back for this segment.
And that was Darren's pat on the back for this stream.
But no, that's just something for me that's a great distraction from pain, because you're constantly interactive with it. You know, it's not like you can't just distract yourself for half a second, because if you do, you're off the track and you've lost your time. So
that's it, you're gone.
Yeah, so when the challenges are on, that's when I really get it, so I got really disappointed when they went away from a weekly challenge and made it a fortnightly one. That really sucked. I hated that.
Yeah.
The last game I played was No Man's Sky. The game with no levels, just try and get to the center of the universe.
Fair enough.
That was a very interesting game.
I tried to have a crack at that Little Big World, but I didn't like that. A lot of other people thought it was really great. Yeah. Did nothing.
You just reach a point in it, and the learning difficulty just goes straight up.
Yeah.
And just leaves you sitting there scratching your head, going, "If I was 10, I could figure this out."
Totally.
So yeah, I've got that little Big Planet. I mean, that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah. I've got it there, but I think I've played it for about 2 hours and gave up on it. Just wasn't my thing. But driving games, I sort of, there's a few I wish they'd remake. It's sadly they won't. I really like the Need for Speed Most Wanted ones, because I could sit there and I could just like keep on totaling police cars all day. I used to run on massive totals. And because after a while you get to the point where you make your own game within the game. Like my aim was see how quickly I could ride off 1,000 police cars. That was it.
Yeah.
I don't sort of, and it's the same for me with Gran Turismo. When I was endurance racing on one particular track, there's actual traffic cones on certain areas of one particular track. In a version that was back a few editions ago, and the aim for me was in an endurance race was to take every single traffic cone that was around the track and end up stacking them into one corner. So there was a couple of hundred traffic cones.
Yeah.
And then the next thing is that how many traffic cones can you push along at once, sort of thing? Can you get to the point where you're pushing along 10 or 15 on the go? Yeah, and like you're doing this at a couple hundred kilometres an hour, It's just fun. Yeah, it's not a matter about setting quick lap times. Just set yourself your own challenges, The game, otherwise the game gets boring.
Yep.
Yeah, so yeah, we've always did that. Like when we even going back to the days of Space Invaders, the aim was like, could you manage to finish the game without, or finish a level, for example, without shooting a single bullet into the barriers from your side? Didn't matter what they did coming down, but could you get through a level without actually shooting a single hole in the barriers from underneath? Because the technique a lot of people would do would be to blast a hole through the barriers and then hide underneath it
Yep.
Yeah, that was easy. Use as a shield. No, see if you can do it without actually knocking one hole in it. That's that's
that takes something else, mate.
Yeah. I was at a light show. I'm trying to think where it was. Melbourne, a couple of years back. They actually had Space Invaders projected up on the wall, and the Space Invaders were like 15 feet tall.
Wow.
It was awesome. playing Space Invaders with 5 meter tall characters. It was just incredible. It's actually harder than you think because it's on a scale that you just don't consider. Like bullets are like 30 centimeters by a meter tall.
Yeah. Bloody hell.
It was incredible. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's people going, "Oh, I'm a Space Invaders master," until they get on there and go, "Damn, this is hard." I was one of them. I used to love playing this game. The tactics came in, but I didn't see anyone in about 2 hours of watching get past probably 3 levels.
Yeah.
It was just that damn hard putting it up on that bigger scale.
Totally.
It was cool fun though. It was good fun.
For sure, mate.
But yeah, so it's nice when people do that. I think another thing too, just coming from that, seeing that particular show, there was a few interactive things in White Knight, which is the big light show we have every year. And one of them was really cool. It was an echidna, and as you rubbed your hands through the spikes of the echidna, they changed colours. It was really damn cool. It was made out of a pile of those kids' lightsabers you get where you tap them together and they change colours.
Yeah.
And similar type of thing. So as they hit each other, they change colour.
Sweet.
And it was pretty cool. But I think just taking that interactive thing is something you've really got to consider putting into some of your builds for Lego too. If you can build an interactive zone, you've done really good. And I think something a lot of shows sort of miss on. Some do it really well, some do it horribly. With Q-Lug's show earlier in the year, late last year, they did a GARC, which is a Galactic Asteroid Racing Circuit thing, and they had the kids building spaceships to put into it, which was pretty cool. So kids could come along the show, build a spaceship and stick it into the racing scene. Great. I've seen some racing car setups where we had the pullback motors.
Yeah.
And that was what Brick mentioned last year. You actually pulled the pullback motor up, and the trick was they had different sized tyres on them, and it wasn't who got to the end first. It was who managed to gauge it so you stopped within a certain braking zone.
Oh.
So it ran on a groove. So the track had been made in a way that it was like a Scalextric track where the car was guided with a pin.
Yeah.
You wound it back and wound it up, and it went down the other end, and you got 3 goes. So you got one or 2 goes to sort of get an idea of how far it was going to go, and then your trick was to see if you could make it stop with what was like a 32 by 32 base plate sort of area, or 32 long stud area. And you got awarded points by how accurately you stopped it in the zone. It was good fun.
Wow.
Kids actually do that with real cars, don't they, as well?
Yeah. They do what they call a go to woe. You just take off from a mark, and you've got to try and stop right on the line, and the quickest wins. Yeah, shortest lapse time wins. So, yeah, that's something that goes on a lot of gymkhanas and things like that, where they have that sort of thing. But, but those sort of interactive things work. We were at one other show where they had about a 30-degree ramp that kids build cars and they slide them down the ramp and see who wins. And I had it's one of these shows, and there's this one kid, and he's building pretty good cars, but he wasn't quite getting it right because he was making they were always hitting the edges and stopping when the tires were rubbing on the edge of the thing. And I said to him, "Look, man," I said, "you got to, I'll give you a tip. Make your car so the tires are in a little bit, so they're not going to hit, or put bricks out a bit wider so it hits the walls, the tires aren't rubbing on the wall. You're making quick cars, but the reason they're stopping all the time is hitting the wall and slowing down." And this is part to do with the fact this Lego's been that flogged out. Doesn't actually run very straight. Been crashed a few times at these shows. And so I put that on board, and then I said to him, right now, loosen your axles up a little bit. You've got them on there too tight. It doesn't matter if they wobble a bit, just lines going a bit faster. And he said to me, he goes, "If I make it heavier, will it go faster?" And I said, "Well, why don't you have a couple of tries and see what happens? Maybe there's a point where you can make it too heavy and it goes slower." And he actually found the point where he made it too heavy and it put too much load on the axles and slowed it down. But he was it was good that I'd got him to unlock his mind and enough to say, "Well, you experiment now. I'm giving you a couple of tips. Now experiment. And there's one kid there. He's going, my car's got to be the fastest. He's about 11 years old. My car's got to be the fastest because it's the most aerodynamic. And I've gone, at these speeds, it doesn't matter at all, mate. You could have a solid block ball that wouldn't go any faster or slower. It's just, aerodynamics it doesn't work at this speed. No, my car's going to be the fastest because it's real pointy. And then this kid beat him with a basic big pile of blocks shoved on wheels to make it heavier.
That will show you.
Yeah, the weight beat. Oh, he was just determined to beat this other loudmouth kid, and it was great.
Oh man!
But it was that interactive aspect of that it was cool. At the same show, they were building brick towers, as everyone seems to do when you get a whole pile of 2x4s to play with. And these guys, I thought they'd done really good building something about 2 meters tall. And I've gone, dude, early this morning, someone had something up higher than the basketball ring. And they've just gone like, what? And I showed them the photo off the back of the camera. They just gave up and walked away. Someone had built one nearly over 4 meters tall.
What do you got to do?
Have a look at the way they get you to put this together. So they get you to make that part there. And it sort of hooks on.
Yeah.
And clips over like so.
Wow.
So where does that
That's how they're actually doing that part.
And that's part of the coping on the outside, is it?
Yeah, that's going to be the fascia. You can see across the front.
Far out, mate.
Yeah,
That's the top of the roof.
I've been told there's some pretty cool building techniques in this one, so yeah.
Yeah.
Good to see.
It's been quite insane. It's good.
Yeah, lots of things I've got to look forward to.
Yeah.
It's all good.
When you get your hospital done, you'll get there.
I will get there. Douglas. Once I get this mock done, and then I can get through the other things of the pile of shame, and I'll get out of the doghouse from the missus, and we'll be all good. That's all good.
I'd assume having too much Lego built up would be like similar to getting out of debt. You just got to do it bit by bit.
That's a good one, Douglas.
Part by part, bit by bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll build my way out of this. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'll build a way out of here. I don't know how, but I will.
Yeah, we were talking about Bricklink with a few of my friends on one of these sites I was telling you about earlier, where people sort of helping themselves out. And I'm currently on about a 3 month Bricklink ban. I got lug bulk to pay for, so that's all right. It's still being unspent on Lego in one way or another.
My name's Tim, and I've got a Lego problem. I keep buying bricks, and my missus is angry because the bank account keeps diminishing. I need to have the 12 brick program to get out of.
The 12 stud program, mate. You're already signed up, aren't you?
12 stud program to get out of.
Just don't step on the tiles. Just slide back to step one.
Yeah, I posted for a while back on one of my groups that I'd started a 12-step, like the equivalent of 12-step program for AA for Lego addicted people, the 12 stud program. And yeah, its main aim is to stop you buying on Bricklink. Doesn't work.
I haven't brought anything on Bricklink for a while. No, I use Brickhouse. Don't worry about it.
I started this system, and I'm its biggest failure. Although I must admit, this year I will be buying a lot less on Bricklink. It's I'm going to be buying a lot more stuff in bulk, just in direct boxes. So I've the part quantities I'm going to need, I can actually justify buying complete boxes of stuff.
Yeah.
Postage just killed you. Can't, like, when you need like 20,000 of one part or 100,000 of one part, you don't get it from any shop anyway, so you just got to contact Lego Direct and get it straight from them. So a lot of people don't realise that can happen. It's not easy to do. You basically have to prove what you're doing it for and that you're not going to resell it. But it can be done. Some Lego retailers can access it for you, which is the way I'll actually be able to do it. So some of the actual dedicated Lego shops can get it. This is the smaller guys, not the big retail stores. That's how I'll get it through one of my local guys. But it's not cheap to do it that way either. It's just it's just the fact that you can access all the parts in one go, not have to bugger eyes around. And by the time you look at it, really, you're still paying Bricklink price with the freight, but you're getting it in one go instead of having to try and place 200 orders to get it or more. Yeah, I bought in as an example, just on 50,000 Transneon parts last year. Yeah, I've had to source them from about 20 different stores, and it just gets a bit ridiculous. You know, it's just crazy. So I got all these little baggies, like, you know, it's just like, instead of buying you get a bag that size, where, you know, really, that's the smallest bag you'd really like to be seeing coming through the door. Even that's too smaller amount. You know? Yes, I have a Transneon part fetish. Oh, look.
Hi, my name's Darren. I've got a Transneon part fetish, and I don't know how I can get this fetish to cease.
Oh, look. As a kid, the only trans parts that were really available initially were the windscreens and windows. Then we started with the first of the minifig cars, which had the yellow square bricks on them. Oh, sorry, the red square bricks for taillights and the white clear ones for headlights. So that's what we got the first one-by-one trans parts. And I think it was nearly about a year before I had any more than 100 of those sort of parts. And so now as an adult, having access to like tens of thousands of them is absolutely cool.
Absolutely.
I've currently in stock got something like, as you can see here, I this is how I actually store this particular part. The one-by-one trans brick, clear. I actually put them together in stacks of 10. So that's how I actually store them, so they don't get rattled around and scratched up as much.
Yeah. That's the part on Beyond they don't make anymore.
Yeah, that's cool. I like it.
The old Castle parts.
Yeah.
I like these things.
Which one was that? I missed that. Douglas, what was that?
The original Castle bits.
Yeah.
The cutouts.
I agree.
Yeah, there's quite a few bits in there that are pretty cool.
You could lock them all together a lot better.
Yeah.
But I sort of, I've learnt that you've got to store certain parts certain ways, or else you do scratch them up. When you are displaying, you want to try and keep the parts in pretty good nick. So that's sort of why we go with a storage system. We're using Tactics boxes, got everything stored. That bookcase you can see behind me on the wall behind me now will eventually be replaced with a shelving system. We just have grooves routed in it with so the boxes just slide into the grooves, and that'll be a complete wall full of Lego in storage boxes. So that's probably a project for later in the year. Yeah. Yeah, you need to join our 12-star program.
More under there.
We're tragics.
I'm not prepared to turn the computer around here because it's not organised at all. Cherie was carrying earlier on that she's like not organised at all. I've got a lot of stuff in boxes. It's all nicely sorted thanks to my partner Elizabeth. Thank you, Elizabeth. If you ever get around to watch the stream, thank you for sorting my Lego, or our Lego. But in my office at the moment, there's just bags thrown randomly everywhere. There's crap everywhere. It's like, I got a bag out here. Look at what I got here, and then just throw it away.
Or as my missus likes to say, I just put it over here. I put over here.
Yeah, and then lose it.
Yeah. And I said, where did you put the bag of the 2x1 tile plates that I needed? Oh, off in corner.
Yeah. Which corner? There's four
Exactly,
corners in
which
this
corner?
room.
Left or right? Left. Front or back corner?
Just speaking about corners and walls and things like that, had this guy just recently ring me up going, you've got a problem with you. We're calling you because there's been a problem reported with your Windows computer. And I've just gone like, well, that's a bit sus because we all use Macs in this house. So I'll play along. So I've held him on the phone for about 25 minutes because I'm thinking I've just got it on speaker while I'm doing something else. I'll save him for wasting someone else's time that day. Anyway, oh yeah, no worries. He goes, now we need to take over your computer so we can fix the problem. And I've gone, okay. He goes, so you need to open up Windows. And I've gone, but they're already all open. And he goes, I can't see that. And I've gone, yeah, they're all open, mate. They've all got wind coming through them. He goes, what, wind? And I've gone, yeah, the only windows in this house, mate, are in the walls and they let in light and air.
Oh, no.
And he's like, huh? And I said, we use all Mac computers in this house. He goes, oh, sorry for wasting your time. And I'm going, sorry for wasting my time. I wasted all yours. I'm not sorry at all.
I got a friend who tells her 5-year-old kid it's grandma or grandpa on the phone and gives it to him.
Wow.
Basically, yeah, they can't get a word in. The kid just goes.
It's great. And they won't give up either because they're hoping to get back to the person, they're trying to get in contact with. Yeah, that's great. I love it. It's look, it's sad we've got a world full of scammers, but if you can take them down in another way, Oh, sorry about that squeaking noise. It's thing on my floor. We're talking about geocaching earlier, as it always comes up, and it's just my missus' obsession. I don't very often buy non-genuine Lego bits. It's really not something I do. But geocaching actually did some officially printed ammo cans. So they're actually meant to represent an ammo can, which a lot of geocaches are hidden in, and they've got official geocache printed on them. It's actually the only custom brick part I've bought, other than my brick badge. So yeah, there's a couple of them going in my build, only because I'm hiding them to be a dirtbag. No, one of my evil muggle challenges for a geocache is I'm building 6 near identical scenes of that Groundskeeper Willy one, and each one of the 6 will have a slight difference in it, and you have to tell me how many parts are in each scene. So you'll go to somewhere and you'll be given a box randomly, and you'll have to tell me what number's on the box.
Yeah.
And when you sort of report that you found it, and then you'll have to tell me whether you got what number of parts. So in other words, I might say how many ammo cans are in there, how many books are in there. You got to sort of count it. I won't get you to count exactly how many parts are in the scene, but identify how many of what. And then or it might be you got to count all the parts there. I don't care. I'll be evil.
Yeah.
The thing is, every time they go back to the person who's in charge of them, they will randomize the box numbers again and then let me know. So no one can tell a friend to work out, box number 6, how many parts are in that? Because they'll be changed every time, so no one will get the same box every time.
Oh, good.
I'll know which one you did, and there's no way you can ring your mates up and say, hey, what was the answer to that? I'm evil, I know. Hey, and I tried to do it. Just by looking at it the other night. And even spending about 30 minutes on it, it takes you about 4 times to get an accurate part count.
Far out.
I'm evil. I'm evil.
Right.
I don't care. I'm sick of these people who say that because I don't actually find geocaches and log them, mate. In the 2.5 years Elizabeth's been doing it, not quite 3 years Elizabeth's been doing it, she's found nearly 3,000 caches. I've actually helped her find over half of those. So I just don't sign them. It's not my thing. But they're trying to tell me I can't put caches out because I'm not a cacher. Yeah, right. They're going to hate my caches. I got one series planned that's just going to make them do so much crazy shit that's not necessary. They're going to hate me.
I love how your mind thinks, Darren.
Hey, why not? Why not? Take a photo of yourself standing so and so with 1 foot on the ground, one hand touching the sign, and then just post it to the wall so everyone can laugh at you.
Yeah.
It's got absolutely nothing to do with the geocache. It's just like, I'll make you do some weird shit in public.
Just because you can.
Just because I can. That's the end joke, You don't tell anyone what they're doing is totally irrelevant. I got caught, so I'm going to make sure you get caught as well, sort of thing.
Oh, totally.
That's half the fun of it.
Oh, for sure.
You've got to have a bit of a laugh in life. I've got one series planned where the first thing you have to do is elect a team captain. It's actually a group one, and you've got to elect a team captain. And the person who's elected team captain, first instruction they have to basically follow is you have 3 or maybe 4 choices of how you wish to play this. You can solve it very quickly and get out of there quickly.
Yeah.
You can solve it in a moderate amount of time and have a little bit of a laugh. You can solve it in a reasonable amount of time and have an extremely good laugh. Or you can make the guys do an absolute pile of absolutely ludicrous stuff that will take them about 3.5 hours, and they're going to hate your guts, but you're just going to piss yourself laughing the entire time. How evil do you wish to be?
Oh, damn.
And that puts it all back on the team leader then and how evil they want to be. But yeah, as I said, I've got several vignettes I want to build to put into geocaches. And I've also got a series of puzzle boxes I'm going to make which use Technic parts to open them up. So I've got to find a bit more secondhand Technic stuff, which is actually very hard to find. But I've got like a couple of boxes of secondhand Lego here I'm going to use to build them from. And then just got to find a heap of other stuff to go in them to make them work. But that'll be some fun. So
yeah,
I got a rough idea of how I'm going to design it and make it all work. But it's one of those things, you sort of have a bit of fun with it all. If it's not fun, there's no point in doing it.
Absolutely.
I put up a challenge to where I've awarded points for people who put new caches in, and once 100 points have been accumulated, I'll put out an Evil Muggle geocache. And once the first one's like the first one I've got planned at the moment is just so damn evil, it's just like going to be near impossible to find. It'll be possible, but it'll be hard. And I actually did a trial run with one of my friends, and he's just gone, "You are so damn evil." And I've gone, "Yeah, they don't call me the Evil Muggle for nothing, Because just to put it in context, a Muggle is someone who doesn't geocache normally. So yeah, because I don't find geocaches, they consider me a Muggle. I'm the Muggle chauffeur, the Muggle husband. Well, I'm the Evil Muggle geocache placer. Yeah. Gonna have fun building some evil geocaches. So yeah, but I'm gonna build a lot of them with Lego. That's where the relevance is. There's quite a lot of them going to be built with Lego and be quite interesting. I'll show them over a period of time. Once they've been sold a few times, I'll show a few of them. I won't show all of them, but yeah, it'll be cool fun.
Totally.
It will be cool fun. So
yeah.
Anyway, it's getting to that time of the night, mate. We should probably wrap this up.
Yes, I was about to say that, my good friend. I think we've had a good stream. Thank everyone for coming on tonight. ABC, my mate Jeff, Douglas Mabricken, he is coming to the group tonight. That was good to have you on board, Douglas. Thank you for coming on board, my friend.
Yep, not a problem.
Very good to have you. And Indeed, if you can hang around for the post chat, please do. And my good friend Darren, thanks always, mate. And everyone else out there viewing this later, please like, subscribe, and if you got comments, leave them below because we will answer the burning questions you have post-show. So, thank you everyone for coming on, and we'll see you, Lego Lunatics, next week on the Super Sunday Lego stream. Keep building, keep happy, and buy more Lego.
Break on.
Bye, guys.